including the White Shadow, MASH, and WKRP in Cincinnati, have been preempted so that we may bring you the following special hockey telecast.
Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Ford Motor Company on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. The Bank of Nova Scotia with nearly 1,000 branches across Canada to serve you. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. And by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Brewers of Molson Golden.
The Stanley Cup quarterfinals begin tonight, and in Montreal, it's the classic all-Canadian hockey matchup. The Toronto Maple Leafs are the visitors at the Forum, where they meet the Canadiens, the defending Stanley Cup champions. Good evening, everyone. This is Dick Irvin speaking to you from our studios at the Forum, and I have a lot of company tonight. Danny Gallivan, Jerry Pinder, Bill Clement, Donnie Marshall, and Red Fisher are with me, and we are set to provide the description of what should be a fine first game to what should be a fine Stanley Cup quarterfinal round between the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens. During this past regular season, the teams met 4 times, and the Canadiens won 3 of the 4 games. But it wasn't easy for them. Their victories were by scores of 3-2, 2-1, and 6-3. The tie game in Toronto ended 4-4. The Maple Leafs have not beaten Montreal in almost 3 full seasons, since November 17, 1976. But nobody wearing a home uniform tonight feels certain that past history will mean a thing. A lot of players will be in the spotlight, especially Mike Palmateer, the Maple Leaf goaltender, a big hero for them in their win over Atlanta. Toronto defenseman Borje Salming, a tower of strength on the Maple Leaf defense, and he may get more ice time than anybody else in this series. For the Canadiens, Guy Lafleur has to be their leader on offense, and the man the Maple Leafs must contain. Lafleur failed in his bid for a 4th straight NHL scoring championship, but he still had a big year and scored 52 goals. Another player the Maple Leafs must watch is center Jacques Lemaire, who the Leafs know has been one of the greatest Canadian performers in recent playoff history. In Toronto last Thursday, the Leafs scored a record 3 goals in 23 seconds against the Flames. Playoff record for the Leafs. We are glad to welcome Jerry Pinder in from Saskatoon to provide the analysis for tonight's game in the broadcast booth. And Jerry, the Maple Leafs, we've just seen them score those fast 3 goals. They have to be the underdogs against the Canadiens. What can you see them trying to do against Montreal?
Well, there's no question that they're the underdogs. The only thing they can do, they're going to hit everybody in sight. Talking to the Leafs this morning, that's all they talked about. They got to hit, and it's a tough way to play a 7-game series.
Mike Palmateer has to be a key man, especially here in Montreal.
If the Leafs have any chance at all, Mike Palmateer has to be sensational, as he has been the last half of the year. And in talking to Jerry Cheevers the other day on the telephone, he said that he thinks Palmateer is the best goalie in the league right now.
Jerry, from a Montreal standpoint, can you see the Canadiens wanting to come out and really take it to the Leafs offensively right off the bat?
Very definitely. They've had a week off, and it's either going to work against them or for them. I happen to think it'll work for them. And in the hitting department, the Montreal Canadiens are going to hit back. They've got a physical team when the game dictates that it should be physical.
Jerry Pinder, former NHLer, and we look forward to Jerry's comments throughout our broadcast. The Maple Leafs come in here tonight with the same lineup that defeated the Flames in that series last week. For their part, the Canadiens tonight will be without Doug Jarvis, one of the best defensive centers in hockey. Jarvis suffered a knee injury in practice here in Montreal on Saturday, and tonight marks the first time since Doug Jarvis turned pro with the Canadiens 4 years ago that he has missed a game. If my mathematics are correct, he has run up a consecutive string of 362 regular season and playoff games, but Doug Jarvis is not in the Montreal lineup tonight. Ray Janhoul has been missing for the past 5 weeks. He was injured on the 3rd of March, but he has returned. He has had a serious groin injury. The Game 2 in this series will be played here in Montreal on Wednesday, and then the scene switches to Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto for Games 3 and 4, and those games will be played Saturday night and Sunday night. The original quarterfinal schedule had the games on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, but the Canadiens and the Leafs will play games 3 and 4 in Toronto Saturday night and Sunday night, and Hockey Night in Canada will bring it all to you. Quarterfinals beginning on 4 fronts tonight. Elsewhere, the Chicago Blackhawks and the New York Islanders meet at the Nassau County Coliseum. The Pittsburgh Penguins, who eliminated the Sabres in 3 games, will meet the Bruins at the Boston Garden. And Fred Shero takes his New York Rangers right back into his old hockey home, the Spectrum in Philadelphia, as they start against the Flyers. And we will keep you posted on all of those series as best we can throughout our broadcast here tonight. So just before we get set now for the opening face-off, let's go up to the broadcast booth and join Danny Gallivan.
Thank you, Dick. The Toronto Maple Leafs have a rich history of excellence under playoff pressure. Only the Leafs have lost the first 3 games of a final series and then won the Stanley Cup. Only Toronto, when it was one division, finished 4th and went on to take the Cup. So here they are tonight, facing the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Montreal Canadiens, in a best-in-7 quarterfinal series. Now our national anthem, Roger Doucette. And your officials for this opening game: Bruce Hood is the referee. The linesmen are Ron Finn and Gerard Gauthier. There you see them. And I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to start with 3 defensemen with Hutchison going to center. We'll check that further after we look at the goaltenders for tonight's game. And there's Mike Palmentier, very brilliant goaltender of the Toronto Maple Leafs. In 19 games, Stanley Cup average over 2 years, 2.49. And there's Ken Dryden, 47 playoff games, an average of 230. So Jerry Pinder, what about Toronto starting 3 defensemen?
Well, it looks like Boris Olmi's going to center, but I noticed the Canadiens as well have dressed Cam Connors, who hasn't been in the lineup for a while, so it should be a very physical game.
And so the opening game of this series is underway, and it's Lapointe around the net. Lapointe leading the attack for Montreal, and that pass is gobbled up by Turnbull. He cleared it back. Lapointe ran into Turnbull. They started to get sticks up on each other. Now they go into the corner. Burging in there was Turnbull. And the speculation that it would be a physical display early in the game has now been substantiated.
Well, certainly. Dave Hutchison is right in the middle of that, and they want Hutchison out there to intimidate the Montreal Canadiens. And in turn, the Montreal Canadiens have proven that they're not going to be intimidated, Danny.
So we'll have penalties. Referee Bruce Hood is indicating the way to the penalty box. And there you see Turnbull and Lapointe in the first set 2.
Here's the altercation with Hutchison in the corner and Steve Shutt. And this is what Toronto wants to do. They want to get the Montreal, and there's Turnbull coming in. Turnbull did take a little bit of wood from Guy Lapointe, and in order to help the Montreal Hockey Club out, Guy Lapointe has to start hitting more than he has all season.
From the fourth.
Quaker State Motor Oil helps cars last.
We get all kinds of weather out here, so I recommend Quaker State for year-round engine protection.
Most of my customers do a lot of tough city driving, so I tell them, use Quaker State.
I've been using nothing but Quaker State in my customers' cars for years. Quaker State Motor Oil helps cars last. Maybe that's why it's the best-selling motor oil in North America.
The announcement is being made about the penalties. Turnbull gets 4 minutes and Mondew 2. 20 seconds the time of the penalties. Back it goes to Savard. There's the shot. And a ricochet at an angle off Palmatier. Now from the corner, Salming. Gainey is after him to the other side. Lanny McDonald playing it back. Now it goes to Lemaire, and his shot was blocked. Here is Savard winding up for the shot. And that's blocked by defenseman Burroughs.
Jacques Lemaire, Danny, has gone to center ice in place of Doug Jarvis. They want Lemaire to play against Darryl Sittler all night. There's the save that Palmatier made.
On the face-off, it's back to the Canadiens line. Sittler is after Robinson, who set it. Gainey couldn't hold it. Now McDonald into the center ice area. The Leafs circling back. Burroughs over on the other side. Gainey trying to get a loose puck, and Salming, who is the master out there for Toronto in practically every game. He got it, and finally it was cleared down into the Canadian zone. Lemaire to Robinson. McDonald is after him. Now Gainey starting out for Montreal. He delicately dumped it off into the far corner, and it's icing called against the Canadiens.
Well, Pierre Mondew doesn't get too many penalties. They're getting too many hassles, but he got in one right there. They have served exactly a minute of their penalty time. Ian Turnbull has 3 minutes to go as he received the double minor.
I noticed Larry Robinson take a pretty good run at one of the Maple Leafs early in the game, and he sometimes sets the tempo of the game, Dick, and if he gets physical, that could settle things down quite a bit.
Well, you hear people talk, Jerry. You know, they say, well, teams can check the Canadians, get physical, but with people like Robinson, Gainey in the lineup, it's not that easy.
No longer can you be physical and intimidate the Canadians.
Face-off in Canadiens territory. Hutchison playing up along with Kenville. Now Lafleur in the corner. LaPointe comes up with it ahead to Risebrow. He dropped it back. And the Leafs cleared in over the line. It's swinging away on the right wing and cutting through center as LaPointe is in over the Leafs line. Offside is Napier, number 31 on the left side. Hutchison and LaPointe had words as they skated from the corner area. And they'll have more than that, I would think, before the night is over.
Dave has had more than words with a lot of people this season. 235 minutes in penalties. His first playoff year with Toronto. Back of the net, look at it. The whistle had gone on the offside. But as Howie Meeker might say, he finished the check.
McKechnie back to Hutchison. Up on the left side. Here is Kenville to McKechnie. The shot. High. Not too much on it. And each team now has a shot on goal. Canadians led by Napier down on the left side. Hutchison got a piece of him, then he was knocked down by McKechnie. Coming back for Toronto. Kenville at the line. The shot, the rebound. Ellis going in. And LaPointe very coolly cleared it to the wing. Here's Napier with that great fake against Jones. Napier down on the left side, in on the left wing. Napier getting set, chopped the shot. No trouble for Palmatier. Hutchison shooting it down there. The Leafs now are short-handed. Turnbull is working on his second minor penalty. Montreal on the power play, and Lafleur gets it ahead into the center ice area. Mondew taken out of the play by Salming. Burroughs snapped a shot to the other side, and it's into the center ice area. No score in this game. Mondew tried to set up shot. It was too far for him. And it was Salming who cleared it to center. Minute and a half left in the Turnbull penalty. Now Jones takes over for Toronto. Back to Burroughs. 3 minutes have gone by in the opening period. Canadians trying to get this power play into effective operation against the tenacious checking of the Toronto Maple Leafs, led by Butler and Jones. Now here's Robinson. The big defenseman cuts in on the left side. There's a pass to Lemaire. He whipped the shot wide. Savard working it from the line. In it goes to Mondew. He passed it back. It's gobbled up by Butler. Now Palmatier is getting a penalty. Is there any other penalty being called?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. Hood pointed right at Palmatier as he flattened the Canadian with the play heading up the other way. Still no score. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Well, we finished most of Charlie's seating. Hey, come on over to our place. Dad's got a few beer on ice.
Sounds great.
For years, the folks around these parts have given a guy a hand and shared a little Molson Export Ale.
And I called the girls to come over for supper.
Terrific. That means we leave the tractors here for the...
How's that leg, Charlie?
Oh, it's getting along. Say, I sure do owe you guys a vote of thanks.
Hey, what are friends for, eh, Charlie?
Molson Export Ale. It keeps on tasting great.
Mike Palmatier draws the penalty here, Jerry. Roughing the call, he knocks Lemaire down.
Well, one of the real dangers we talked about earlier today in the Toronto's aggressive style is that the Montreal Canadiens power play could be devastating, and Toronto got away with it in the first game against Atlanta when Atlanta didn't draw any blood while they did have the manpower advantage, but you can't keep the Canadiens off the scoreboard with the man advantage for very long.
Well, let us see. Conceivably, for 54 seconds, Toronto could be short-handed 2 players. Butler is serving the Palmatier penalty. Now Burroughs shoots it down the ice on the power play for Montreal. Lemaire, who is going back after the puck, along with Lapointe, Lambert, and Lafleur. Gainey and Jones, Salming, and Burroughs defending for the Toronto Maple Leafs into the corner. Gainey is in there to get it off the boards. Back it comes to Lapointe. Lapointe takes a look. Now will it go to Lafleur? It does. Here's Lafleur. Right in front of Lemaire. He fired it! And that went off the leg. Why? There is a pile up of players in front. Here's Lemaire working in, getting it back to Lapointe. There's the shot. He whipped the shot wide. Canadians still in possession. Here is Gainey. Gainey over it goes to the other side to Lapointe into Lemaire. Lemaire takes a look back to Lapointe going in for the shot. Stopped by Jones. Here's Lemaire back to Gainey. One player is back on. Gainey over. They score! Lapointe.
And the Leafs are really upset because Hood was going to call another penalty there, Jerry, and I think possibly another one of Palmatier, who was really involved with Lambert and Burroughs out in front of him.
Well, it's just unbelievable. Here's a replay of the goal, and Bob Gainey makes a heck of a play to Guy Lapointe on this particular pass, and it's just a low shot in the corner. But previous to this, it was unbelievable the work that Lambert was doing in front of the net with Dave Burroughs and Boreas Salming. Here, we're going to maybe get a little bit of a look at it here. Now, that's the goal again. But he stood in front of that net and took several good shots from Salming and Burroughs, and that's one of the keys. He had those defensemen so angry with him that they probably weren't playing the puck.
Boyd gets the goal. The Canadians were firing. Actually, the Leafs, I thought, had done a pretty good job of preventing the shots from going in. They're going to have a correction here on the announcement, so I don't know what's happening here unless somebody touched it. Now, there you see Palmatier. Now, there's Hood at the top of the screen about to signal a penalty. It was, I think, on Palmatier. The Canadians had the puck, maintained possession, and the goal went in. Now we get a discussion. We're going to get a penalty called here. They've put another penalty up against Toronto on the board, but we will wait. It's 1-0 Montreal. I can tell you that it's 3-0 for the Boston Bruins over the Pittsburgh Penguins at the end of one period in Boston on Bruin goals scored by Marcotte, McNabb, and Milbury. Roger Nielsen looking on. The last time the Maple Leafs were in this building, the night of March the 1st, was a very emotional night for Toronto. That was the night that Nielsen supposedly lost his job, but he got it back. All right, here we are, Jerry.
Let's watch Palmatier stick. He takes the wood to Lambert, and the penalty called on Palmatier is a very well-deserved penalty, and you can see what an effective job Lambert is doing of taking out the Leaf defenseman as well as Palmatier.
I'm trying to figure out here what's going on the penalty clock. They've got Lambert up for 2 minutes, Palmatier up for 2 minutes plus 1 minute.
There goes Palmatier's chance to win the Lady Big Trophy.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, you know, the Toronto Maple Leafs really want to play an aggressive style, but they just can't afford to be in the penalty box. The Montreal power play is so devastating, and already we've seen an example of it. They're leading 1-0, and to my way of thinking, that shot that Palmatier took at Lambert with his stick was completely unnecessary. Lambert's in there to do a job in front of the net, and the Leafs send a man in to do the very same thing on their power play, either Tiger Williams or Dan Maloney.
Hold on, fella. The goal doesn't count. The goal doesn't count.
The goal is disallowed.
The play had been whistled dead. We couldn't hear the whistle up here. You saw on the replay how Hood raised his arm. Everybody cheered. The Canadians came off the bench. I didn't pay any attention to the fact that the scoreboard still shows 0-0. So Paul Matier still has a minute left in his first penalty, has now drawn another one. And now the announcement is made that the goal does not count. Well, well.
Well, the referee has obviously given Lambert an interference penalty for being in front of the net, and that also was a good call.
That's it, Jerry. Right on. Lambert with the interference call.
So there's no score in the hockey game. Lemaire getting it over to LaPointe into the center ice area. LaPointe giving it to Lemaire, ahead to LaPointe into the center ice area to Lafleur. A drop pass to LaPointe. Here's LaPointe taking the look over to Lemaire. He fired and he grazed the goal post. And it's cleared down the ice by Jones. Jones, number 16, a very pesky hockey player, an excellent penalty killer. And he is in that role now. He's the only player up front for Toronto with Salving and Turner, Turnbull on defense. Now on the left side, LaPointe clearing it in. Turnbull in on the boards. Salving takes a look and he fired it down the ice. So there's no score in the hockey game, although the puck is fired into the net by LaPointe. So there's no argument by the Canadians because penalties were being assessed. Now it's LaPointe in over the line. He gives it to Robinson. Robinson faked the shot. They're playing five-a-side now. It's off the leg. Here's Jones coming out over the line. Takes the long shot. Butler is on the ice for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Leafs are making changes while the play goes on. LaFleur's pass is stopped by Maloney. Robinson with the head fake hits the Toronto line. In on the left side, trying to clear it. It's off a leg, and it's back into the center ice area. Lambert and the volunteer penalty. It's actually 19 seconds left. Into the corner. Here is Gainey. He missed it. And it is called for icing.
This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Forum in Montreal.
Water power. For nearly 100 years, Canadian General Electric has been helping turn this natural resource into electricity, bringing progress to Canadians. Today, CGE is Canada's leader in high-voltage technology, which transmits that power more efficiently than ever before to industries like this giant steel mill, where it's put to work, helping provide products and jobs for Canadians. Progress for people from Canadian General Electric.
Lining up for the face-off in Toronto territory. Each team has 3 shots on goal. We have Risebrow against McKechnie. Are they going to be waved out of there? No. The face-off finally goes to Kenville. Here's Kenville gathering speed out over the line into the center ice area. Pass from Maloney on the other side. And finally, it's called on the offside at the Canadiens line. 13:37 left in the opening period.
Pierre LaRouche of the Canadiens, not in uniform tonight. He hasn't been for, well, he missed the last 10 games or so of the regular season. He is one of the Canadiens' extra men.
Now we have 3 seconds left in the penalty. And then the teams will be back at a full complement of a half dozen. How long that will last, time will tell. Now here's Hutchison clearing it. It's off the stick of Lambert over the glass.
We see that the Canadians have dressed Cam Connor tonight for the first time in several weeks, and I think that's an indication that Scotty Bowman is anticipating a very rough game.
Connor played only 23 games all year, Jerry, for Montreal.
Tremblay cleared it to the right side. Kenville. Up it goes. McKechnie chasing after it. Engblom cleared it out over the line. Here's LaPointe. Flicking it into the corner. Lambert moving in, bumped rather gently by McDonald. Now the puck is knocked into the center ice area. Engblom firing it back in. Trombley rides on. Lambert moves in. Interference call against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, Jerry, you called it. You said the Leafs said they'd be running into anything that moved out there tonight. And Maloney gets called there.
Well, there's no question that was a penalty. He interfered with Mario Tremblay, who was just going into forecheck. And a little earlier in the game, Dan Maloney laid out Serge Savard with a pretty good check. And I think the Maple Leaf strategy is to go after the good players of the Montreal Canadiens.
At 7 minutes 1 seconde, Toronto's penalty to number 9, Dan Maloney. 2 minutes for interference at 7:01.
So Maloney off for interference at 7:01 into the opening period. And again, Montreal with an opportunity to apply the power play. Mondeau, Lafleur, Schott, Robinson, and Lapointe. Jones, as usual, is out there again for Toronto. They do not execute that face-off fairly. Let's pick up the other Leaf players, Salming, Burroughs, and Butler. From the face-off, it's behind the net. Salming is going after it. He prevails, clears it down the ice. And what a tower of power number 21 is for the Toronto Maple Leafs when he's on the ice. And he seems to be on the ice all the time. Salming. Now the Canadiens starting out. Robinson over to Lafleur into the center ice area at the Toronto line. Over it goes. Mondeau puts on the brakes, gives it to Lafleur. Here's Lapointe, a shot. Palmatier grabbed it and his eye on that all the way.
Jerry, one thing that all of these penalties is bringing about as far as Toronto's concerned, as we look at Mike Palmatier, who's drawn 2 of them, people like Lanny McDonald, get it right yet, and Darryl Sittler haven't seen much action. They're going to be awfully fresh by the time they finally get around to playing 6-a-side.
A minute and 27 seconds left in the penalty. Salming, falling, clearing it. Schott is after it, back to Lafleur over the other side. There's a shot. It hit Robinson in front. Now Lapointe takes a shot. It's off a leg. Fierce action in front of Palmatier between Burroughs and Robinson. Now the Canadiens losing it, and it's knocked down the ice by Butler. Lapointe almost got hit with that. He just ducked in time. Lafleur out over the line. Gainey has it. He hits the Toronto line. Here's Gainey going in a goal. He shoots, and Palmatier comes up with a sparkling move to get in front of it. Into the corner. Lambert behind the net to Gainey. Back it goes to Lafleur. He fakes the shot. Gives it to Lemaire. A shot stopped by Salming. A pile-up. They fight for it in front. And McKechnie comes up with it for the Leafs and cleared it down the ice. Exactly 28 seconds left in the Maloney penalty, and the Canadiens in their own zone. They can't get anywhere against McKechnie. Now Lapointe starting out over the line, leading a wave of 4 Canadiens to center, shooting it in. A dozen seconds left in the penalty. McKechnie is shoved by Lambert, and Hutchinson shooting it down the ice. Now that penalty has expired, and the Toronto Maple Leafs certainly have defended well. On the occasions they have been short-handed, and it has been frequent in this opening period. Now Hutchison playing it to Williams. He cleared it to an open left wing. Savard is back for it. No score in this hockey game. Pass into the center ice area. McDonald has it at his own line. Ray-Jean picks it up, brings it in, and Risebrough had not succeeded in getting out over the Leaf line.
Well, Scotty Bowman's trying to coach his team to their 4th straight Stanley Cup. We asked him what kind of a series he expects the Canadiens and the Leafs.
It's always difficult, I think, to predict the outcome or predict what type of series might be played. I think traditionally the Toronto and Montreal series have been very emotional and have provided some very good hockey. And this is, I think, what everyone is expecting.
The Toronto Maple Leafs on that great wrist shot by Lanny McDonald. And Scotty Bowman had taken over from us on the play-by-play. We didn't send him in. But anyway, McDonald came in, and a typical Lanny McDonald. Here it is. He can shoot that beautifully, that wrist shot.
Well, he just let one fly. Dick, there we see it again. And Engblom didn't get too close to him, but anytime you give Lanny McDonald time to shoot, he's a very dangerous hockey player.
Well, I told you he'd be arrested when he finally got on the ice after all those penalties. Well, McDonald from Sittler, that well-known Toronto firm.
Assisted by number 2, Ian Turnbull, and number 27, Carol Sittler, at 9:36.
9:36 on the Toronto Maple Leafs. In front, 1-0.
No, Jerry, that was really the first good scoring chance the Leafs had had. The Canadiens had outshot them to that point 5-3, but really the three shots, as we look at Sittler taking a run at Brian Engblom, the three shots the Leafs had, I think, were pretty well all from well out.
Yes, that was the first decent scoring opportunity they had. And there, as we see a replay of Sittler again, like they're trying to take everybody they can get their hands on.
Now Turnbull clearing it into the corner. Savard in there. After him is Sittler. The Leafs moving in. Now they fall back with the Canadiens coming out. A long left wing pass. Schutt has to stop. He gives it back to Mondeau. McDonald trying to get a piece of him. And all he got was Mondeau's stick. Into the corner on the board. McDonald out on the right side. Mondeau got a piece of him. Robinson hit McDonald. And a penalty coming up.
Let's see, I think Boutet might get a penalty for taking a run at Lafleur after Robinson was being signaled for a penalty when he hit McDonald. It's going to take a lot of sorting out tonight when we figure out who's being penalized for what.
Well, I hope we get a replay of that check by Larry Robinson, because he really laid it on Lanny McDonald. There it is. No,
this is how it all starts. Hutchison against Mondeau.
Okay, I think we're going to get it. There's Lanny McDonald taking a run at Mondeau. Now here comes the check by Larry Robinson, I think. There it is. A pretty solid check by a big man.
And then Boutet later on down the ice. That's just as all of that was coming to an end. Took a real run at Guy Lafleur and knocked him down. So there is Boutet in the visitor's side of the penalty box. And there is Larry Robinson in the home side of the penalty box. The Canadiens were the least penalized team in the league again this year. But they are going to have their hands full, I guess, in the penalty department here against the Leafs.
And the Leafs leading on the goal by McDonald. Here's the announcement on the penalties.
Dick, we talked about this at the top of the show, that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to belt everybody around. But we also mentioned the fact that the Montreal Canadiens are going to hit back. And you haven't got a Montreal Canadian team that is going to be intimidated, so it should make for a real interesting hockey game.
The rundown on the penalties, Toronto has picked up 6 minors, Montreal 3, and the Leafs with the important statistic in the game. Toronto leading 1-0. McKechnie over on the right side to Salming. He's over the line. Fires the shot. Dryden didn't know where exactly that had gone. He looked behind him. Now it's Lafleur out over the line into the center ice area. Takes the long shot. Palmatier with that great reflex action. Got it off his leg over the glass.
With the score, the Maple Leafs 1, the Canadiens nothing. This is Stanley Cup 79.
Down by the old mill stream, where I first met you, you were 16.
If you have to have a meeting and can't go, a conference call gets different people in different cities together to work out whatever they're working on. Just dial 0, ask for the conference operator. She sets it all up.
Face off in Toronto territory. Teams playing 5 aside. McKechnie against Lemaire. The Leafs get the draw. Lemaire in there to pick it up. Couldn't get it back. He lost it to McKechnie. Williams, a pass on the right side. Turnbull is digging in there against the bar. They go to the corner. Williams trying to pick it up. He passed it back. Salming working from the corner. Salming trying to get in front. And a low shot just wide. Great work by Salming off the boards. Now McKechnie ahead to the Toronto defenseman again. Cleared in. Turnbull at the point. Takes a shot. It goes off the point. Lafleur can't get out. And the Leafs doing a great job here of hemming the Canadiens in. McKechnie doing the forechecking along with Williams. Now they fall back. Lafleur ahead to Lemaire. Lemaire tried to get through there. He was bowled over by Salming and Turnbull. McKechnie over the line. Williams getting in front. The shot off the stick. Williams into the corner. Now Gainey whipped the pass over into the center ice area to Uhl. Uhl with Lapointe. A drop pass to Lapointe. Lapointe center again. And the pass was high and went off to the corner. Leafs clearing it down on the right side. 20 seconds left in the penalties. In on the wing comes Réjean Uhl trying to get it in front. Here's Engblom. They fight for it in behind the Toronto goal. And the face-off about to take place. Now Bowman sending out Risebrough. The scoring play in the hockey game, McDonald, his first playoff goal this year, Turnbull and Sittler assisting. 1-0. Sittler against Risebrough. At least that was the situation. Now it's McDonald against number 8 of the Canadiens. Gainey on the left point and Lapointe on the other side. They are out of your picture. Now it's back to Gainey. It hopped over his stick, goes into the center ice area. Penalized players are now back on. Kenville takes over. Cleared it up on the right wing to center. Here is Sittler over the line, making the moves, dropping it back. Boutet is chasing it into the corner. Sittler trying to center it off the boards. Watch McDonald. There's the shot. He didn't get too much on it. It was to the side of the net. Canadiens led by Réjean Uhl ahead to Gainey. Gainey into that center ice area. Long shot picked off gracefully and coolly by Paul Matier. Sittler laying it back into the center ice area. Canadiens making changes now while the play goes on. A shot in by Risebrough. Shot going in. Paul Matier got it to McDonald ahead to center. It's whipped back in by Mondeau. Lafleur going in. Lafleur trying to get possession. He was ridden out of the play by Burroughs. Now here's Anderson. He's a nifty skater. Anderson out over the line. Going after Mondeau. Chasing him back into Canadiens territory. Here's Burroughs backhanding it in. Chartrand missed it, and it's called on the offside.
Well, during the first intermission tonight, our Inside the Playoff feature will center on penalty killing. We'll have Bill Clement of the Atlanta Flames and former NHLer Donnie Marshall along to talk about that aspect, that very important aspect, obviously, tonight, as far as the Leafs are concerned, to playoff hockey. And I'll be chatting with Serge Savard and Darryl Sittler, interviews recorded prior to tonight's game. That's all coming up during our first intermission.
Lafleur, Mondeau, and Schutt still the attacking line for the Canadiens. Jones, there you see him, 16, he's at center. Butler on one wing, and Boutet on the other. Leafs 1, Canadiens no score, moving into the final 5 minutes of the opening period. Dryden stopping it. Now Chartrand. Chartrand on the right side to Mondeau. Coming down with Schutt. It's cleared into the corner. Paul Matier golfed it. It hit Schutt. Schutt trying to center it. It's cleared off Jones' stick. In among the spectators.
Jerry, we talked about Mike Palmateer before the game. You look at the McDonald goal. If you look at Jerry Butler of the Leafs. Just prior to that, Palmateer made a big stop off Bob Gainey, who had made a fine play, split the defense. Palmateer made the save. There he is, making like Tony Perez or whoever.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, if the Leafs are to have any chance against the Montreal Canadiens, they need a big, big performance out of Mike Palmateer.
Well, Palmateer came to the Leafs from Dallas 3 years ago. He met General Manager Jim Gregory. He said, "Your goaltending problems have just been solved." That proved to be a fact and not an idle boast. 25-year-old native of Toronto, he has been sensational with the Leafs. 5'9", 155 pounds. Canadians, everybody up for the face-off. Salming against Lambert. Salming working it on the side. It's whipped back in and now out into the center ice area. Chartrand gives it to Robinson. Robinson shooting it in. Tremblay going in. He's bumping with Boutet. Boutet takes over. Now it's for the side of the net. Turnbull with Lambert after him. They go into the boards. And Boutet going back in there to check Tremblay. They may start something.
Well, I'll tell you, Jerry, you can talk about your Lafleurs and Sittlers and McDonald's, but you have to wonder if this sort of thing keeps going, if the boys in the trenches aren't the ones who are going to decide it. Now we've got a bit of a wrestling match going on. Rick Chartrand, and I think it's Jimmy Jones. It is.
That's a mismatch, too, and you have to give the Toronto Maple Leafs credit. They've got a game plan and they intend to stick to it, but I'm just not so sure that it's the right game plan to beat the Montreal Canadiens, because as we've mentioned time and again, the Montreal Canadiens have a very physical hockey club.
In the interview that I pre-recorded with Darryl Sittler, he has some interesting comments to make as to what might happen if the series gets a little physical. And I think some very sensible comments, too.
Well, Pat Boutet, I noticed earlier in the shift when he was playing against Guy Lafleur, was covering him just like a shadow. Every move Lafleur made, even hanging back deep in the Montreal zone, Boutet was right there with him. So they're obviously not going to give him much breathing room in this series.
Well, mentioning what the penalties are doing to the Leafs personnel-wise. Oh, here we go now. Boutet and Tremblay. You know, Jerry, you could count on the fingers of one hand the number of fights the Canadians had in this building in the regular season. Here we are in the first period of this series, and we've got this sort of thing going on.
Well, they're letting them go at it here. It looks like they're going to break them up now, but this is something that Toronto really didn't have to face against Atlanta, and if they're going to hit game in and game out against the Montreal Canadiens, then they're going to have to fight game in and game out, and that's not a very good prospect to look at when you've got 7 games to go. It's a very tiring way to play the game.
These are the two who started that whole thing. And they sort of had a bit of a confrontation, and nothing happened then. Chartrand and Jones got in on the act, and then they decided to come up with part 2. So there you have Tremblay being convoyed to the penalty box.
You notice when the scrapping and whatnot is going on that not too many people really walk up to Larry Robinson and drop their gloves and say, "Let's go." And I think that's an indication of really how strong the Montreal Canadiens are.
Some of the fans getting a little fractious in back of the penalty box. Well, there you have it. The Maple Leafs lead the hockey game 1-0. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Look into a new North American-built Ford or Lincoln Mercury car sold in Canada for advanced technology. The 7 anti-corrosion processes of the DuraGuard system. Pre-coated steel, galvanized steel, phosphate tunnel spray, corrosion-resistant primer, vinyl sealer, vinyl coating, and aluminized wax. The DuraGuard system is backed by a manufacturer's warranty against corrosion perforation. Depend on the DuraGuard system. Protection that's built in right from the start.
5 minutes pour s'être battu. Le temps des punitions, 14 minutes, 8
Well, here's how it all
secondes.
began as we listen to the penalties.
Number 27, Rick Chartrand, 2 minutes for roughing, and to number 14, Fabio Beltray, 5 minutes for fighting, and 14:08.
So, Danny, they will play 5 aside. The major penalties went to Tremblay and Boutet, but the minors, Chartrand and Jones, that's why they'll play 5 aside. So the Chartrand-Jones situation, the only one showing on the penalty clock.
Toronto Maple Leafs 1, Montreal Canadiens no score. McDonald from Turnbull and Settler. Face-off in Toronto territory. Salming with that feathery pass to the left wing, back to Salming over the other side to Burroughs. He knifed it down into Canadiens territory. Sittler against Savard. Savard to Lapointe. Lapointe with Lafleur. Lafleur on the right side. Lafleur putting on the brakes. Over on this side is Savard, but it goes to Gainey. There's the shot. Palmatier getting his leg on it. Over on the far side, a pass intercepted. Here's a break for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sittler going in, and it is offside.
I tell you, he was going to argue that, Jerry, the instant the whistle went, but thought better of it and didn't say all that much.
Well, there's no doubt that
it
was a good call by the referee. And that's interesting in the line matchups tonight.
There's that shot from Gainey that came in. Palmatier doing the splits.
He's made several good saves.
Bruins now leading Pittsburgh 4-1. They're in the second period. Marcotte with his second goal. Kindrachuk scored for the Penguins.
5 minutes and 13 seconds left in the opening period. And it's been a long first period from the point of view of consumption of time because there has been a lot of extracurricular activity and visits to the penalty box. Now, it's Uhl going in there. Uhl trying to come up with it. He lost it. The Leafs, 3 of them into the center ice area. Sittler, back it goes. Salming couldn't get the shot away, and then he was checked by Lapointe. Savard over on the far side for Lemaire. He hits the Toronto line, winds up. It's blocked. Recovered by Uhl. Over to Lapointe into the corner, and Turnbull takes over for Toronto. Turnbull leaving it for McDonald. Salming into the center ice area. Turnbull's pass goes sliding off to the corner. Dryden for Lafleur. Now Toronto making changes while the play goes on. Lafleur coming out into the center ice area. Clears it in, races in after it along with Lemaire. Hutchison there to cover up for Toronto, having difficulty against Lemaire. They tie each other up. Here's Lafleur. Back it goes to Robinson. Over to Engblom. There's the shot. Lafleur waiting for, and he fired it wide to the open side. What a glorious scoring opportunity there for the Montreal Canadiens. Penalized players are back on. Here's Mondeau giving it to Engblom, stopped by Jones. He cleared it into Canadiens territory. A wholesale change now for Toronto. Robinson down on the right side, hits the Toronto line. Robinson playing it back. Williams gets rid of it and rolls it down to the Canadian zone. Fans still buzzing about that setup for Lafleur in front. Now Butler and Schutz start jostling inside the Toronto line, but nothing developed, thank goodness.
1-0, the Leafs leading the Canadiens live from the Forum in Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
You said you'd teach me the TV repair business. That's what you said. In 2 years, I've worked on every color set, but never Hitachi. Never.
One more try, kid. Okay, we'll ask right here. TV repair, ma'am. We've come to check your set. No charge.
Oh, no. We've got a Hitachi. Who needs service?
Kid, promise me, if you ever get inside a Hitachi, come back and tell me all about it.
Danny, a couple of off-ice notes about the Canadiens. Larry Robinson has shaved his beard, and Ken Dryden has got rid of his mustache. And Wayne Merrick has scored for the Islanders, and they lead Chicago 1-0 at the end of the first period.
And it's a close shave here in the first period.
You'd say that.
1-0. Now in on the boards, and they get a whistle. The shots on goal are 8-5, Montreal leading. And I suppose the differential there could be attributed to the advantage that Montreal had on the penalties. They have had more power plays than Toronto.
Cam Connor hasn't seen action since I believe it was last March 12th, and we haven't seen him tonight, but I think if the rough play continues, Scotty Bowman's definitely going to have him out on the ice.
Engblom firing it to the other side. Here's Risebrow with Lambert and Napier. Failed to penetrate against Turnbull. Leafs coming back. Maloney going in. And he was checked just as he was getting ready to take a good shot. Risebrough's pass goes off a stick. Could be an offside here. No. The Leafs get out. Anderson fails to hold the pass. Salming up for Maloney with Anderson and McKechnie. Canadians turning on the left side. Engblom After Risebrough over the line. Puck is left there. It's rolled in, and finally Turnbull. Ahead to Anderson on the right side across the Montreal line. Anderson trying to get in behind Engblom and center right out in front. And it was a bouncing puck, and Maloney couldn't get it onto the target. Lapointe. Now it's Napier. Ahead to Risebrough. 2 minutes left in this opening period. Salming leading a four-man Toronto attack on the right side, and he shovels that one in knee-high. Lapointe from the corner. Ahead to Lemaire. Shot moving down on the play. Over the line. Offside. Shot. Well, last week in Montreal, Doug Smith died. Doug, for 8 years, was the English voice of the Montreal Canadiens, and no one has ever brought greater dedication, knowledge, preparation, and excitement to hockey broadcasts. Doug was a big fellow physically. He was a giant professionally. But to his family, we extend an expression of genuine sympathy. Right from this catwalk, starting in 44, Doug had the opportunity to do that Canadiens' victory in the Stanley Cup playoffs against the Hawks when Pro Blake scored in overtime. Canadians were behind in that game 4-1, and the fans started to say fake. And then they went on to win. Doug was there. Salming clearing it to the far side. Lemaire along the boards. Jones pokes it into the center ice area. Robinson, a head man pass. Lemaire was tied up by Burroughs. The puck loose in front, and finally it's poked out on the right side. Robinson back for the Canadiens with 1 minute left in the period. Toronto Maple Leafs on the Lanny McDonald goal, leading 1-0, and there's an offside called against the Canadiens.
Scotty Bowman seems quite content to have the Guy Lafleur line play against Jimmy Jones, Butler, and Boutette, but what he does want is to have Jacques Lemaire out there against Daryl Sittner, I believe, in the absence of Dougie Jarvis.
And there we see Dave Burroughs. He's now going to go over to the Leafs bench. I wish somebody would put the watch on Salming. I'll bet he's been out there for 15 minutes in this period.
Well, they say he played almost the whole third period, 17 minutes of the third period in the first game in Atlanta when those players got kicked out of the game, and that's a great asset when a guy like that can log ice time.
Now Turnbull. Up it goes finally to Sittler. Maloney going in after it, driving out of the net, and he finally struck his stick out and deflected that shot. Canadians clearing it into the center ice area. Salming back for Maloney into the corner. Régin Houle gathering speed coming out. There's the pass. Nowhere near Mondu. Pouncing on it is Turnbull to Salming. Salming shooting it back into the center ice area. And it's Savard. Over on the other side to Lapointe. Just a dozen seconds left now in the opening period. The Canadians with the final rush. There's a pass to the line. Broken up once again by that strong Toronto defense. Lapointe back after it, and that's going to be the end of the first period. Canadians outshot Toronto 8-6, but the Toronto Maple Leafs got the only goal. McDonald from Turnbull and Sittler. The time was 9:36. So the score at the end of one period, Toronto 1, Montreal no score.
That was a nice cold ice for the winners, huh?
Okay.
Let's serve that for the losers, huh?
Just about every weekend, Rick and the guys get together for some good times and some Molson Export Ale.
The time is right, your friends are here. You couldn't ask for a better beer. Export keeps on tasting great when the time is right for great beer.
Well, what do you guys say to a little rematch in the morning? Hey, you know what you guys got to do to win this trophy back, don't you? Hire me as your anchor man.
Export keeps on tasting great when the time is right for great beer.
The
Mach 2 by Arrow, a tapered shirt that fits you perfectly, because only the Mach 2 is tailored to the contours of your body, with a dart here and here, has sleeves the length you choose, and if you wish, a patented marked collar, the only collar shaped to fit the cone of your neck. That's the Mach 2, the perfect tapered shirt. Fittingly made only by Arrow.
It is indeed a pleasure for me to be talking right now with the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Darryl Sittler, who was in this same position almost a year ago, but Darryl, a different situation now. You fellas have to be in better shape physically and mentally than you were when you played the Canadiens after that Islanders series a year ago.
Well, that's definitely true. We have Bourrier playing this year. He was out last year, and Lanny was playing with a broken wrist, and I had a bad knee. And I don't know, emotionally we were drained after the Islanders series. This year, you know, we've had 3 or 4 days rest after beating Atlanta out, and we're looking forward to get going.
You just said what might be a key word, it seems. Scotty Bowman said to me yesterday, he feels this will turn into an emotional series. You agree?
Well, I think so. I think probably every fan across Canada loves to see Toronto-Montreal play because of the rivalry in the past years, and I think the players feel a little of that too, you know.
Everybody gets in on the act. Can you see it, Darryl, becoming a physical series, if not right off the bat, as it goes along?
Well, I think maybe physical to the extent of a lot of hard hitting. You know, Montreal has some hard hitters in Gainey and Robinson, and definitely our style is to play a hitting style. Hopefully it doesn't get into Donnybrook's and brawls. You know, no player likes to see that, and we're not intending to play that way either. We're just going to play hard hitting, and sometimes when there are a lot of hard hits and shifts, the emotions do run high, and fights break out, but you know, that's not our game plan.
Darryl, the Canadiens, playing them this past season, did you notice anything different than playing them the previous couple of years, for example? Any different to play against?
Well, I don't think so. I think what has happened, everybody looks at Canadiens' records this year, maybe it's not as good as other years, but I think a lot of teams around the league have improved a lot, and including the Leafs. You know, we have Dave Burrows this year, and guys like Paul Gardner and guys like that helping us, and you know, it's difficult to stay on top. You know, guys like Serge Savard and Guy Lapointe are getting a little older, and you know, maybe they find it a little more difficult, and I don't know.
You'd like to see how difficult it is, though, to stay on top, wouldn't you?
Well,
find out for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they have 3 in a row, and I'm sure they're looking forward to winning 4 in a row, and we're looking forward to knocking them off. So.
Darryl, how important is home ice advantage at playoff time?
Well, I think for our team, really there's not a whole lot of advantage for us because we've had a good record on the road all during the season. We have the type of team that has great character, and we play well on the road. Sometimes throughout the season, our fans were a little disenchanted with us. You know, they booed us a lot in Toronto, and I think a lot of the players felt a lot of pressure playing in Toronto, and they seemed to play more relaxed on the road. And we were happy to start the series off in Atlanta. It puts a lot of pressure on the home team to win at home, and you know.
See what happens here tonight. Darryl, thank you very much. Great series against Atlanta. Best of luck in the play.
Thank you.
Darryl Sittler, the captain of the Maple Leafs. Coming up next, Donnie Marshall and Bill Clement talk about penalty killing. Stanley Cup 79 continues in just a moment.
This is Varipel. With the exclusive Envirosol system, the exterior wood preservative that's so effective, you can think of it as wood insurance. Here's proof. We soak 2 pieces of wood in water for 24 hours. Then we bake them at 225 degrees for 1 hour. After all this, the wood treated with Varipel is still protected. That's wood insurance. That's the Envirosol system. Here's how it works. The Envirosol system opens up the cell walls of the wood fiber, allowing Varipel to penetrate deep into the wood. When it dries, the Varipel is embedded deep in the cell walls. This stabilizes the wood, preventing it from expanding or contracting, so it resists peeling, cracking, or blistering. And Varipel contains a fungicide to protect against mildew and dry rot. Protect your investment. Get Varipel and get yourself some wood insurance.
Flecto, when you want to do it right.
After one period, the Toronto Maple Leafs lead the Canadiens 1-0, the only goal in the penalty-filled first period. Lanny McDonald from Turnbull and Sittler scoring for Toronto at 9:36. Well, as advertised, we have a bit of a discussion for you now on killing penalties, and we've got 2 experts with us. Donnie Marshall, who retired as a pretty good penalty killer, just a couple of years ago, Donnie. And Bill Clement of the Atlanta Flames, who understandably wishes he were somewhere else right now playing hockey, but that's not the way it worked out. Bill, I'd like to start with you. First of all, a brief discussion maybe of how the Maple Leafs go about killing penalties?
Well, Dick, if you look at their final statistics, you could swear that there are 4 or 5 scorers on that team and 13 or 14 penalty killers. They don't have a great group of scorers. Roger Nielsen chooses to use Jim Jones and Jerry Butler, and I think the way they kill penalties is similar to the way they play the game, the way Roger Nielsen teaches the game, and that is conservatively.
Right. Okay, Donnie, the Canadian style.
I think basically, Dick, that Canadians, they'll send their forwards in a little deep, but always on the turn, not to get caught. They don't want another man out of the play. They want the 2 wingers coming back, but bothering the offensive team when they're coming up the ice.
There have to be good ways and bad ways to kill penalties. Gentlemen, I don't know if you have a solution, not necessarily the ones involving the teams involved here tonight. Bill, what do you feel is the best way to kill a penalty?
One of the best ways is to get a terribly sick. One of the best ways is to get a terribly sick feeling in your stomach when the opposition scores. That kind of guarantees 100% involvement in killing a penalty. It's being a very disciplined type of hockey player and playing a very disciplined style on the ice. You just cannot roam and you cannot take any shortcuts. When you're playing even strength, you can take some shortcuts. When you get back into your own zone, you have to play a pretty disciplined box, as most hockey analysts refer to it. Toronto does that, except for the corners where they have some mobility, and guys like Salming and Turnbull, they can force the play when it gets deep in their corners, and you have to have a good face-off man, and they have that in Jimmy Jones.
Donnie, you mentioned about the Canadians and their motion, but again, you've got to think back inside their own blue line too.
Well, let's start first, Dick. In the other team's end, they'll make a pass. Let's say Gainey and Jarvis are killing the penalties. We'll use Salming as a sample. He stops behind the net. Gainey will make a pass very slowly. He'll go by, and Salming will have to wait. Then Jarvis will go by. 10 seconds are gone. They'll start moving the puck up the ice. They'll make one pass at him, possibly before the blue line. Make him pass the puck, possibly an offside. If they miss him there, somebody else will make a pass at him before center ice, just to bother him, make a bad pass so they can break it up before it gets into the Montreal end of the ice. But once they're there, it's the same thing as Bill said. You form the box,
right. And
the box has to be a little bit flexible. The forwards are covering the point men. They move back in, they move out, depending on how the play goes. But Montreal, their defensemen are good with the puck, and they don't rush, they don't shoot it up the boards. They're careful with it. They make sure they clear the zone.
You know, some teams, the Canadians, Bill, Scotty Bowman likes to change his penalty killers after about a minute. Other teams, I can think of the Islanders and the Sabres, for example, keep the same 2 men on. As a penalty killer, do you think you can, is it better for a minute all out, or would you rather be out there for 2 to get it over with?
Well, I think it depends on the relative stamina of the players involved. I know Philadelphia likes to change after a minute, and our coach in Atlanta likes to leave me out there almost as long as I can take it. If I were coaching, I would probably leave my #1 penalty killing unit out there as long as the #1 power play unit on the other team was out there, and then switch accordingly. But one of the aspects of penalty killing that very few people recognize is the ability to shoot the puck, and it's one of the few times where the ability to shoot the puck enters into the game in the defensive zone. When you get tight in a corner and you have a split second to snap it over someone's head at the blue line, it's pretty difficult, and that's when I pass to my defenseman and yell at him to shoot it out.
I guess that's one of the dangers. There's too often that let's get rid of it right now.
That's right.
Yeah, Donnie, has penalty killing changed? We talk about the game has changed. This has changed. That's changed.
I don't think so, Dave. The basic concept of penalty killing: keep the puck out of your own net. And when I started with Canadians back in the 50s, and I worked with Floyd Curry, I don't see any different out there now. It's the same idea. You slow them coming out of their end. Once it's in your end, you work to get it out.
Do you believe that, Bill? Hey, nothing's changed?
I can't really remember watching Don kill penalties. I think I was too young. I was going to say that earlier, but now I know why. Since you played in the 50s, I was just a tyke back then, and I'm sure nothing has changed. The objective is still the same. And
sorry, Donnie, I didn't mean to set him up for that. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Bill Clement and Donnie Marshall. 1-0, the Leafs leading the Canadians after 1 period. Serge Savard is next. We'll return with Stanley Cup 79 in just a moment.
Phantom of the night. Elegant. Elusive. Introducing the Phantom Cat, a bold, distinctive Mercury Cougar XR7 in midnight blue and chamois, with a hauntingly beautiful new face, elegantly styled, deeply cushioned, a luxurious Mercury Cougar XR7 called the Phantom Cat.
Isn't this your year to join the cat set?
At the sign of the cat. There are over 10 million Lufkin power tapes in the world. The blade is high-carbon steel, drawn in Lufkin's own rolling mill. Its markings are true to 88 thousandths of an inch over a 100-foot length. Its epoxy finish is tough, yet flexible to resist impact. Its casing is as resilient as steel, yet 6 times lighter. Lufkin, from the Cooper Tool Group. We make once-in-a-lifetime tools.
The Canadiens' acting captain, Serge Savard, is the veteran from a playoff standpoint on the ice tonight. He is tonight playing in his 103rd playoff game. This doesn't make you an old man, Serge, as far as playoffs as hockey are concerned. Is it still a brand new season for you, though, when the playoffs begin?
Well, it is a brand new season, and you know, nobody knows how it's going to go. It doesn't matter if you finish first place, if you earn 15 or 20 points. You always start from scratch. You know, there's always an upset sometimes, and after the years we've had, and we figure that most of the other team are better than they were last year, and I think there's no more weak team left now in the 8 teams available now in the playoffs, and every series is going to be tough. You know, you don't say, well, you got to meet the Islanders or this team in the finals. The first 2 series will be easy. I don't think that's the case anymore.
It doesn't matter, for example, that you haven't lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs in almost 3 full seasons. It doesn't mean a thing, right?
I don't.
No?
I don't buy that. I never do.
Serge, when we talked earlier in this season on our show, you mentioned that you felt then that the season would be tougher for you fellas because the competition was getting better as a whole in the league. Did you find that once the season was all over?
Well, actually, you know, with all the injuries we had, sure, it was very, very tough this year, but I think the team, a lot of team improved this year, and it will next year too, because there's 2 teams out of hockey next year, and there's all those new guys coming up. You know, hockey's got to improve, right. And for our team, I think we didn't improve this year, and other teams, all the other teams improved. So it's, you know, I think it's good for hockey. We'll have a well-balanced league next year, like we had this year.
Was there a letdown within the ranks of the Canadiens when you didn't finish ahead of the Islanders after you'd gone right to the last game?
I don't think so. We were very disappointed after the game in Detroit, and I'm still are because you know, when you play against a team which is out of the playoff, and the only thing you have to do is get a tie to be in first place, and we lost 1-0. Even if the goalie played well. After the game, I said, if we can't score 1 goal against Detroit in a situation like that, we don't deserve the first place.
A lot of people ask me, I'll ask you then, what happened? That one game that seemed to cost you.
Well, if I look back at the record, every time we score 10, 12 goals in one game, I'm always scared after, and that's exactly what happened. We didn't have any offensive going, you know, like good forechecking in their end. We play well offensively. Everybody came back, and both goalies played well.
Were you playing for a tie? A lot of us seem to think maybe subconsciously you fellas said we need
the last period, yes, but maybe not the first period.
Serge, finally, one final question. You played in all 80 games. Were you glad for the week off?
Oh, yes, I was, and you know, we had all our players back in the last 3 weeks, and I think that week should do some good for us.
Thank you, Serge. Good luck in the playoffs.
Okay.
Serge Savard of the Canadiens, live from the Forum in Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Back in 1832, Halifax was a growing seaport, trading lumber and fish in the markets of the Caribbean and Great Britain. That was the year a handful of merchants formed Halifax's first public bank, the Bank of Nova Scotia. They believed that making an investment in hard-working people was a good investment. They weren't wrong. 50 years later, Scotiabank opened a Winnipeg office and helped the Western farmer harvest another kind of sea, a sea of wheat. In the late 1950s, banks weren't in the business of promoting small personal loans. Scotiabank made it their business and started giving credit where credit was due. Investing in hard-working people with imagination. It was a good idea back in 1832, and it's a good idea today.
Toronto 1, Montreal no score. We wait the start of the second period. The Canadiens are on the ice. We still await the Toronto Maple Leafs. Here they come, led by their great little goalie, Paul Matier. The one scoring play, McDonald at 9:36 from Turnbull and Sittler. And the shots on goal were 8-6 in favor of the Montreal Canadiens. Gainey at 3. Single shots by Lapointe, Savard, Lafleur, Lambert, and Napier. And for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Salming, as we look at Paul Matier down there. Salming, who was a giant of a performer for Toronto in the first period, As we mentioned, Jerry Pinder, he must have been on the ice 15 minutes. He had 2 shots on goal. Kenville, McDonald, and McKechnie, along with Jones, had the other.
One thing I'd like to say about this Toronto team at this point, Danny, from talking to them, from being around them, there's one thing that's very important about this team. They're very close to each other, and they believe in each other. And when you get in a situation against the Montreal Canadiens where you're underdogs, this could be almost as important as what you do on the ice. Off the ice, they like each other, they get along very well, and Roger Nielsen, come playoff time, seems to have them believing in themselves. And I think the whole organization, from Jim Gregory right down to the last player on the roster, really deserves a lot of credit for this.
As I mentioned at the top of the show, this team has a tremendous playoff record. They seem to be a different hockey club once they see that trail of the Stanley Cup beginning.
Well, Jim Gregory and Roger Nielsen, as I mentioned, deserve a lot of credit because they've put together a team of players with an awful lot of character.
So Salming was back there, final few words with his goalie. Roger Nielsen, coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the second period is underway, and Burroughs slides it over to Salming. He flicked it in over the Canadiens line. Savard couldn't clear it. Robinson starting into the center ice area. Robinson ahead for Lemaire, and Butler cleared it out. Now the puck back in over the Toronto line. We have Lemaire, Schutt, and Lafleur for Montreal. Jones, Butler, and Boutet for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They fight for possession. Now it comes around the boards to the other side. Boutet clearing it. Finally, Robinson took Savard's pass. Here's Salming intercepting. He just gets rid of it and dumps it into the Canadian zone. So they are starting this period rather cautiously. 1-0, Toronto in front. Robinson dumped his man, Boutet, knocked him to the ice in the Canadian zone. Puck was cleared down the ice. That brought a mild reaction from the fans. Now here's McDonald turning at the Toronto line. Taking his time, cruising to the right side. He scoops it in. Williams going in along with Sittler to join McDonald, and the Canadiens start out. Here's Risebrough down on the left side to Gainey. He chopped a shot wide. Chartrand moving in against Turnbull. Shot wide by Risebrough. Hutchison to the other side. Risebrough getting it back to Engblom. There's the shot, and it's broken up by Hutchison into the center ice area. A back pass. Engblom clearing it to Gainey. His pass off McDonald's leg. Could be a delayed offside if the Canadiens don't get out, but they do. Gainey fanned on a pass. Turnbull is spun around on a Gainey check. And they're very, very cautious in the first 2 minutes of this second period. Here's Sittler feeding it in from the point. Williams getting it back to Turnbull. Turnbull's shot off Dryden's right arm. Dryden going down, it's over the glass. From the Forum in Montreal, this is Stanley Cup 79.
I think I'm going to leave this on. What do you think? Joyce would kill you. Every year I take it out before we go home. This year...
You keep rubbing it, you're going to wear it off.
Come on, give it time, eh? That's not so bad. No.
It's been the same deal for years. Clean up the cottage, share a little Molson Export, grow another beer.
Guys, just quit hassling me. Hand me a beer, will you?
It's in the cabin.
Molson Export Ale. It keeps on tasting great.
We see the shots there, 8-6 in 2 minutes. In 8 seconds, there hasn't been a single shot in this period, Jerry. Toronto, everybody up. Here could be a shot. There it is. It's blocked. Ellis tried to pick it up. Ellis around the net takes the shot. He hit the side of the net, and then he was dumped. May get a whistle. Yes, we do.
Well, Ken Dryden early in this period has been called to the task a few times, and I think he's important as well as Palmetier. You know, you just can't have a goalie who doesn't play well and expect to win a playoff round.
Well, that's the first official shot. It's now 8-7 for Montreal. Face-off is outside the Canadiens' line. Leafs leading 1-0. Robinson being watched by Maloney up on the right side to Tremblay. Over on the wing in full flight. Here's Mondeau across the line. Mondeau hopping in there. Oh, and he made that move and lost the puck off his stick. What a brilliant individual effort that was by Mondeau.
Oh, tremendous effort by Mondeau. You know, he's played awfully well for the Canadiens all year, and I think we're going to get a replay of Mondeau's rush here. Watch him go around the outside of Quenneville there. And just lost the puck at the last minute, and again Paul Matier challenged him and made the play.
Now Montreal, everybody up for the face-off. From the draw, back to Savard. Trying to hit Robinson with him. He couldn't. Now McKechnie against Lambert. A pass by Mondeau, and it goes down over the line into Canadiens territory. Off the boards. Here's McKechnie bringing it in for the Leafs. McKechnie on the left side, jammed into the boards by Tremblay and Lambert. Mondeau coming up in the play is Tremblay. Here's Mondeau into the corner. He falls. Tremblay going after it, jostling with Quenneville. Here's Robinson shooting it, a low drive, wide by 3 or 4 feet. McKechnie coming down. He's in over the line, moving up as Maloney going in. He scores! Beautiful goal on a rink-wide pass from McKechnie to Maloney, and Maloney came in there beautifully.
Boy, Jerry, the Leafs, you've got to give them credit. They have made the most of their opportunities.
Boy, have they ever. I don't think Larry Robinson knew that Dan Maloney was coming up on the right side of the ice. He didn't appear to play it that way, and I'm not sure that he knew it. See how close he is to Walt McKechnie, and if he'd have known that Dan Maloney was in the clear on the other side, he'd have been more in the middle of the ice.
And I wonder if Ken Dryden expected the shot to the short side.
It almost looks like it went through Ken Dryden's legs.
Maybe we'll get a good look at it here. Nope.
No, it's on the short side.
Over the glove, short side. Good shot by Maloney, 2-0 Toronto.
3:23, give Ellis an assist also, along with McKechnie. The Leafs 2, Canadiens so score. Now Lemaire missed that pass. Burroughs clearing it back into Canadiens territory. And you're going to see the Leafs with this lead now suffocatingly check the Canadiens if they can. Now Montreal starting out on the left side. Slashes the shot in there. In on the boards, it comes on the left side. Moutet has it knocked off his stick. Lafleur couldn't come up with it. Engblom to Lapointe. So you have the Leafs defense way down there now at the Canadiens line. Montreal starting out into the center ice area. Engblom in over the line, and it's called on the offside.
Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Bright guy, Tony. When he put a new set of tires on his truck, he decided to go first class and pick the one and only Michelin. Liked Michelin quality so much, put a set on his family wagon. And even on his motorbike. The one and only Michelin.
It's the only tire I'd own.
Michelin.
Here's another replay of the goal, and I don't believe Larry Robinson did know Dan Maloney was there, because he'd have been in the center of the ice playing both men instead of just Walt McKechnie.
Maloney showed a burst of speed on that. The way he broke out of the pack back there, just like the way Jerry Pinder used to skate. Into the corner on the other side. Lafleur. It comes back to the point.
Now a strange goal, Jerry. The Leafs got a clean cut one there with Maloney. That time it was a case of follow the bouncing puck for Montreal.
Well, yeah, really Shutt just redirected it, and Paul Matier looked more surprised than anything as it snuck underneath him here. See Shutt redirect it, and it goes right between Paul Matier's legs.
I think it went off Burroughs in front of the net. If we can get another look at it, it seemed to deflect as Shutt just let it go with his back to the net, and I have a feeling that it might have deflected off the Toronto defenseman, Burroughs, number 26. So it's back to a one-goal margin for Toronto as the Canadiens get on the board. It's 2-1 Leafs.
It wasn't really a classic goal.
There's NHL President John Ziegler and his WHA counterpart, Howard Baldwin.
Now the Leafs starting out. Toronto 2, Montreal 1. There's a long shot into the corner. Dryden knocking it to Robinson on the left side. He missed Lafleur with it, and Lafleur gets it, a back pass. Lemaire is in over the line, shoots it, he's wide with it. Now on the left side, Burroughs. His pass hit Gainey. Boutet is starting out. There's going to be a penalty to Lemaire for tripping. I think it was Lemaire. And the Canadiens touching it, and the whistle sounds, and the penalty will be assessed against the Canadiens.
Now Jacques Lemaire doesn't draw too many of them, but he gets one right there. As we take a look here, Lemaire, number 25 of Montreal, Boutet, 15 of the Leafs. And down goes Boutet, and off to the penalty box goes Lemaire. You see referee Hood on the left of your screens raising the arm to signal the penalty against Jacques Lemaire.
Penalty to number 25, Jacques Lemaire. 2 minutes for tripping at 5:20.
Brian Trottier has scored for the Islanders. They lead Chicago 3-1 in the second period. Don Maloney and Phil Esposito have scored for the Rangers. Kelly for Philadelphia. New York leading 2-1 in the second period. Boston running away from Pittsburgh. Redmond has given them a 6-1 lead. That game still in the second period.
And so, Toronto Maple Leafs with the face-off in Montreal territory. They are on the power play. Back it goes. Wilson over to McDonald. Now Turnbull winding up for the shot. Loose puck in front of the net. Savard can't clear it. Now Wilson over on this side to Turnbull. There's the shot again. They fight for it in front. And Dryden down there. And the Canadiens had a close call. The Leafs got two good scoring opportunities.
Serge Savard came to the rescue, Jerry, from Montreal with Dryden down and out of position. I don't know if this is the shot. Both of them came in from that side. Yes, it is. Savard takes the puck away. Sittler was there. There you see Dryden just now getting back into position.
No, you know, Montreal Canadiens really can't afford too many penalties either because Toronto does have a heck of a good power play.
Sittler's at center. Gardner, number 18 on the right side. McDonald on the left wing. Turnbull and Wilson back at the point. Now Gainey shoots it down the ice. Up front for Montreal, Gainey. Now Risebrough's relieved by Savard. Lapointe and Robinson are playing back. Robinson may move up front. Now Sittler leading the attack for Toronto. That pass way wide. Dryden to Gainey. Gainey on the boards. It's clear to the other side. Robinson and McDonald go after it. McDonald knocked off balance. Leafs trying to keep it in. They do. Into the corner. Sittler trying to get in front. He fired it. Blocked beautifully by Dryden. That was an excellent scoring opportunity for the big captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Sittler. Now with exactly 1 minute left in the penalty, the Leafs on the power play. They come down led by Turnbull. He hits the Montreal line. It's knocked off his stick, recovered. That's Wilson, who is the power play specialist. Here's Lambert. Lambert playing it back to Robinson. Robinson clearing it ahead for Savard. Sittler finally takes it for Toronto. Back to his own line to get some skating room. Sittler over on the other side. Robinson shoots it down the ice. 25 seconds left in the Lemaire penalty. Leafs coming out. Salming is leading the attack. Ahead it goes to Gardner with McKechnie and McDonald. McDonald in from the left side, getting set to pass it. It goes by everybody into the center ice area. Now Salming ahead. Toronto had the good opportunities in the first 15 seconds. Since then, the Canadiens have defended well, and now Lemaire is back on. Burroughs takes a long shot. Toronto 2, Montreal one. Now the Canadians starting out. Shot has it into the center ice area. He goes to drop pass to Robinson. Robinson shooting it right on. Palmateer clearing it. Lafleur getting it back to Chartrand. Speed shot. And it hits Salming in front. Now behind the net it goes. Here's Lemaire trying to get it. It's off his stick. Gardner knocked it into the center ice area. Lafleur turning at his own line. Lafleur coming down. Goes to the right side. Lafleur over the line. He's knocked down. And the Leafs clear it into the center ice area. Chartrand back to Engblom. Engblom's pass off shot stick. Here, Jones takes a shot. He had that one right on, but it was fairly well out. Chartrand shooting it into the corner. Shot tied up by Butler. Lemaire takes a shot, and that's blocked by Palmateer. Chartrand pump furrows. Jones has it for Toronto. Now from the corner, Hutchison failed to clear it. It's loose in front of the net. Knocked off to the wing, and Boutet cleared it, not out. Lafleur back in for shot. Into the corner, Hutchison trying to get skating room right in by the backhand. And a sparkling save by Palmateer on the backhander by Schutt. And the Leafs were a little sloppy in there.
Score, Toronto 2, Montreal 1. This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Forum in Montreal.
Looking for good times. Now you know what you might find. Looking for good times. Whatever catches your eye, and when you raise a glass, raise up Canadian. Most of Canadian. Most of Canadian. Raise a glass to the good times.
Chalupian on for the Canadians first time. Mark Napier on for the second time.
There is a noticeable diminution in the body blasting. We haven't had too much of it in the second period. But with Lupien out there now, it could pick up again. 13-12, the shots on goal. The Leafs are leading, and they lead in the hockey game 2-1. Now into the center ice area. Turnbull clearing it in. McKechnie, who is having an outstanding playoff run this year so far. He was outstanding against Atlanta. He got it over to the wings. But then the Canadians cleared it down, and that's Hutchison with it. Up it comes to center. McKechnie shooting it into the corner. Maloney racing in. Dryden knocked it off to the wing. Canadians with Tremblay in the corner. Plays it to Lupien. Anderson is going after him. They're along the boards. Canadians can't get out. Now the Leafs bring it in, and finally Savard, assisted by Lupien, cleared it down the ice. Turnbull touching it. He's tied up by Mondeau. And the face-off will be to the left of Palmateer, who pulled off that great save on Steve Schutt.
Jerry, when you played in the NHL with the Seals, with the Blackhawks, did you expect when you met Toronto that it would be, a rough hockey game? Was that the style then, as we look at that last confrontation down there? Likewise, Montreal, freewheeling, skating.
Well, Montreal style hasn't changed at all since then, but Toronto style has changed an awful lot, and I think this is Roger Nielsen's type of a hockey club. When he came to the Leafs, he made it known that he wanted a physical hockey club, and he's got one now.
Face-off in Toronto territory, and let's see who will do the facing off. It will be Gainey and Boutet. Lapointe and Robinson playing up for Montreal, and the Leafs get the draw again. They've been doing very well on the face-offs tonight. I don't know if there's any official tabulation, but I would think they're ahead of the Canadians in that department.
Well, you see that Boston score still in the second period at the Boston Garden. Rangers ahead of Philadelphia. That's got to be some situation with Fred Shero going into the Spectrum in his first playoff with the Rangers. And the Islanders have now gone ahead 3-1 over the Blackhawks.
Where was that Boston game being played?
In Boston.
At the Garden?
No. You can say it better than I can.
I thought that you had been down to New England. Face-off. Canadians.
Danny, this is one of...
up again, of course, and...
Danny, we haven't seen that much of this sort of thing. Remember, it got to be quite a situation, the linesmen and so on. This season's been rather free of that.
And I think the paying customers are getting a bit impatient with the meticulous manner in which the linesmen are lining them up. Toronto again getting the face-off. Here's Salming coming out, the pass. Now Boutet finally took it from Jones, takes a long shot, big rebound. Robinson clearing it to the line. Lemaire couldn't get anywhere. Boutet back in his own zone. Jones lost it. Here's Lafleur. He shoots it right on. Blocking it beautifully was Palmatier. And that could have been a tough one because Lafleur seemed to be behind the defenseman. Salming whipped it around on the board. Lupien knocked Boutet down. Or that was Lapointe, it was. Number 5. He had just come on the ice. Here's Robinson up on the left side. He clears it in. Big Robinson around the net trying to center it. Here's Tremblay going after it. Back to Gainey. There's the shot. It's off a body. Gainey closing in for the shot. A rising shot. And it's knocked out over the line by Boutet. Now Lapointe and Butler bumping.
Jones has been hurt. He got that one, I guess, on the ankle, Jerry, or the knee, I don't know, and he's in a lot of trouble now. Jimmy Jones being held to the Toronto bench. The Maple Leafs lead the Canadiens 2-1, and that's the score. Toronto 2, Montreal 1. This is Stanley Cup 79.
What's a guy like me doing ironing shirts? It's not so hard. I got a GE self-cleaning iron that uses most tap water and flushes itself to help stop brown spotting. And a self-cleaning valve to help prevent clogging. Not bad, eh? Listen, if my wife can paint a wall, I can iron a few shirts.
Yeah, whenever the walls need painted.
The self-clean, too. Cleans itself to last twice as long as ever before.
Darling.
From Canadian General Electric.
Face-off in the center ice area. We'll check on Jones and get the information on his injury. He limped off. Canadians shooting it in. Now Ellis starting out along with Sittler. Risebrough fed it back in there. Kenville plays it on the board. There's a long floating shot by Engblom. Around the boards it comes to the left side to Williams. His pass is stopped at the line by Lambert. Lambert going in against Kenville. They go into the boards heavily. Sittler tried to feed it ahead and out over the line. And it's held there for a face-off. 8:26 left in the second period. 2-1, Toronto in front.
Well, we heard from Scotty Bowman as to what he thought the series might bring about. See if Roger Nielsen agrees with his assessment.
Our game plan is to get Canadians to play as physical a series as possible. We also know that we have to shut down their power play, contain Guy Lafleur, and stop the quick break. Certainly there's emotion involved when Canadians in Toronto play. All Canada feels it.
And the face-off. Here's Engblom winding up. A toe save very coolly by Palmatier. Now then Williams in the corner. Williams flipping it high into the air. Savard taking over. On the far side, Engblom comes up on the wing and he shoots it into the corner. Chartrand's going after Williams. A couple of tough individuals. Williams falling. He's on the puck.
There's quite a contrast in styles, goaltending styles between these two teams. You have Palmatier, who's very aggressive and challenges the players, and then you have Dryden, who's a much bigger man and covers a lot more territory in the nets. And it's really a tremendous situation to be in with the two separate goaltenders being as different as they are.
Jerry, did you play with Kenny on the national team?
Yes, I did.
Palmatier exudes tremendous confidence.
Jean-Pierre Roy, well-known Montreal baseball broadcaster, former professional player in attendance tonight. Steve Rogers is here tonight. Ross Grimsley met them coming in. They're all excited. They have tickets for Wednesday as well.
And the Expos doing very well. So are the Blue Jays.
Now Lafleur at the line. Over it goes to Robinson, closing in. Big save by Palmatier. Penalty coming up for interference against Turnbull, I would think.
Well, Jerry, it's 2-1. The Leafs are in the lead. Shots on goal aren't that much, although the Canadians have now pulled ahead. But, you know, This game, after the Leafs had those good chances early in the Lemaire penalty, Canadiens did a good job killing the rest of it, and it seems to have turned since then, strangely enough, at this point. We'll take a break here with Turnbull going to the penalty box. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
If your engine isn't starting on cue, put in a fresh set of Champion spark plugs at least once a year. Champion in your engine can make beautiful music together. Get started with Champion.
Here's a look at why Turnbull's penalized, flattening Mondu in front. Jimmy Jones is back. He hobbled off here a few moments ago. I guess he walked it off down in the hallway. He's out there to kill the penalty. There's another look at why Turnbull's off for interference.
Mondu shot Robinson up front. Lapointe and Lafleur on the points on this power play for Montreal. Robinson passed it back, and it's into that center ice area again. Butler, Jones, Salming, and Burroughs defending for the Leafs. Leafs leading by a score of 2-1. Mondu shooting it in. Now Burroughs from the corner, couldn't clear it out, but Jones picked it up and shot it down the ice. Lafleur going to lead this attack if he can get some skating room against Butler. There the pass goes to Robinson over on the wing to Lapointe. Lapointe clears it to the line. Mondu has it. Mondu getting it back to Shutt. Shutt fake the shot. Here's Lapointe over the other side to Lafleur. Back to Shutt. Shutt shot off the leg. Lapointe has it. Lapointe over to Shutt. Shutt gives it to Lafleur. Closing in. Oh!
Well, this coming off the bench seems to be a playoff tradition now with these teams. Jerry, I don't think Palmateer saw it. He didn't react until the puck was in, the light was on, and the people yelled. Couldn't blame him either.
Well, the way the Montreal Canadiens set this power play up was beautiful. Watch Shutt make the play to Lafleur here, and all he has to do is walk in and blast it. But they made 2 or 3 quick passes. We're going to get a shot of Larry Robinson creating a lot of trouble in front of the Toronto net, and that's the reason he's out there on the power play.
Also watch Palmateer's reaction. See, he can't see a thing.
He doesn't see it, that's right. Robinson doesn't even have to hit him or tangle with him or anything. All he has to do is stand there. And as we mentioned before, Toronto got away with the penalties in the first period, but against a team like Montreal, it's going to catch up with you sooner or later.
There's the scoring play at 13:05. Power play goal by Lafleur. And the game is tied 2-2.
Canadiens' goal was scored by number 10, Guy Lafleur, assisted by number 22, Steve Shutt, and number 5, Guy Lapointe at 13:05.
13:05, the time of the tying goal. Engblom coming in on the left side, shoots, he hit the goal post or the outside of it on the far side. The angle was very sharp. Score tied at 2 goals. Now McDonald shooting it in for Toronto. Savard around the net. Savard coming out with Risebrough, Chartrand, and Gainey. They don't get very far. Coming back for Toronto. On the left side was Williams, and then Savard gets it out to Gainey. Gainey down on the left side. Chartrand coming up. Chartrand couldn't pick it up, and the net was wide open. Palmateer had come out. Chartrand couldn't make contact in front of the net. Granted, the pass was very hard. It may have been off the ice. Now Turnbull in behind the net. Coming out slowly. Over on the far side. Here's Sittler coming up. Couldn't get by Engblom. Engblom ahead to Lafleur. Lafleur cutting. Lafleur passing it back. They shoot. Oh! Another shot! Splendid effort by Palmateer. Oh, remarkable.
Here's a replay of this, and Lafleur makes a fantastic play to Engblom, and watch the save that Palmateer makes here. In fact, I think he makes 2 of them.
Oh, yeah,
Engblom took a shot at the rebound.
Tremendous goaltending.
There's another one.
Well, he's been under a lot of fire in the last 6 or 7 minutes of the hockey game. Mike Palmateer.
The Montreal Canadiens are starting to move now, you know, Dick, and one thing that I'm noticing about the Toronto Maple Leafs is they're moving away from their game plan. As the Canadiens start to skate faster, Toronto can't hit them as much as they did in the first period.
Certainly scintillating saves by Paul Matier. Score tied 2-2. Shots on goal are now 21-14 for Montreal, which would buttress your observation, Jerry. Salming clearing it into the center ice area. Here's Boutet coming down over the line. A pass for Ellis. It's behind him. Ellis checked by Tremblay. Now Mondeau behind the net, turning with Napier, who has it on the left side. Tremblay is on the other wing. Long shot. Paul Matier takes his time. Boy, he is confident. Now right in front of Mondeau. He hit the goal post. Mondeau hit the goal post. It went off Paul Matier, then off the left goal post. How about that?
Unbelievable action here.
Well, we're going to take another look at it. It's the second time Canadians have hit the post. Paul Matier himself brought this about after a fashion, I guess, Jerry.
Well, I think what happened is he got rattled when Tremblay went by and gave him a whack with his stick, and he gave the puck right back to Tremblay.
There it goes, off the post.
5 minutes and 12 seconds left in this second period. The Leafs 2, the Canadiens 2. And again, we're going to have a change. Jones and Lemaire out of there, and we have a shot against Butler. Back it goes. Robinson shooting it. It's off a stick. Here is Turnbull. Turnbull around the net, leading the attack for the Leafs. A neat pass goes to Jones over on the left side to Boutet. Gently, it goes into the corner. Butler. Now Jones chopped at it. Into the corner again. Robinson taking over for Montreal. Robinson stopping. Robinson trying to get some skating room with less than 5 minutes to go in this second period. Here's Robinson down on the line. Robinson is over the line, trying to drop it back. Shot, a pass over to Lafleur. In on the other side it goes. Here's Lemaire taking a look. Robinson is right in front. Lapointe gets it. It came off a leg. Lapointe to Lafleur. Lafleur in behind the net. It goes. Penalty coming up. Steve Shutt will go off for interference.
Steve Shutt dumping Boreas Salming right at the side of the Toronto net. And the Canadiens will now be into a penalty-killing situation.
Dick, Steve Shutt dropped the stick and said, who, me? And I don't think there was much doubt about that call.
So the Leafs get a power play chance with the score tied. 4:23 left. Let's look here at why Steve Shutt has got to the penalty box. Jerry, at one point in this period, the Leafs had outshot the Canadiens 13-12. Right now the margin is 23-14, so Montreal has outshot the Leafs 11-1 around that time of the Lemaire
2 minutes
penalty.
for interference. Well, they've completely taken over the game at this point. However, having to kill off a penalty might make a big difference to the Toronto Maple Leafs because they do have that excellent power play.
Mr. Frank J. Selke in attendance, and how many playoff rounds has he seen, Danny? How many games? There you go. There's Steve Shutt. As Jerry said, who, me, ref?
Mr. Selke has been associated with hockey, amateur and professional, for about 63 years. So he has seen a few goals in his years. Let's see what's going to happen here. Here's Salming with that head fake over the other side of Sittler. Sittler playing it into the corner. McDonald has it. He falls. Savard tucks it against the boards. It's loose. Sittler into the corner, behind the net. McDonald is going to pick it up against Savard. Back it goes to Salming. He cleared it back in. Savard knocked it down, and he cleared it into the center ice area. Wilson, number 14 on there, used exclusively tonight so far on the power play, and Wilson takes that pass from Sittler. Tuck into the center ice area, close quarters. Now Wilson trying to get some skating room. Gives it to McDonald. Back to Salming, over on the other side to Sittler. Sittler digging for the corner. Tied up. McDonald goes into the corner behind the net. Williams going after it against Gainey. Gainey failed to clear it out. There's a shot right on the rebound to McDonald on the Wilson shot. And finally Dryden Cleared it. Front it comes. Gainey intercepts it. Gainey into the center ice area. He's checked by McDonald. And now with 38 seconds left in the penalty, we have exactly 3 minutes remaining in this, the second period. Toronto Maple Leafs, Salming, the workhorse, over the line, fakes the shot. Right in front it comes off the stick and then out over the line. Wilson dropping it to the other side to Sittler. Ahead to Williams. He clears it into Canadiens territory. Digging in there doggedly is number 7, McDonald. He ran into Dryden. And the Canadiens defending very well. They shoot it down the ice. Now it's intercepted by Risebrough. Risebrough. His pass gets off. Hutchinson's lead pass goes down the ice. Engblom touches it. And with the expiration of the penalty, we have an icing call against Toronto. Live from the Forum of Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoff.
Baby, put a charge in your life.
Before you buy any import, compare Mercury Zephyr.
Baby, put a charge in your life.
Compare the model choice. Compare features, ride, roominess. Compare price. Mercury Zephyr. Drive one before you buy.
Zephyr, put the charge in your life.
At the sign of the cat.
2 minutes and 18 seconds left in the second period. On the face-off, again the Leafs get the draw. Turnbull lost it to Lambert. Lambert around the net. He takes a look. It's centered, and it's off Turnbull's leg. Boutet. A neat pass from McKechnie to Ellis on the other side. Ellis drips one in there, and Dryden onto the knees. Grabbed it.
That puck was up on end when Ronnie Ellis shot it, and that often gives a lot of goalies trouble. And I know Dryden was very cautious when he did get down on his knees and get that and make that save. And when the puck's up on end, it does funny things. It's like a baseball pitcher, I guess, throwing a sinker ball or something like that, because oftentimes it gives the goalie an awful lot of trouble. And Dryden played that shot very well.
It flutters like a knuckleball.
Exactly.
That's the type of pitch you used to get you out.
That's the type of shot I used to take, but it wasn't very hard.
Okay, the Leafs, everybody up. Number 6 there, you see Ellis. He's poised. Should McKechnie get it back? And again, we have a couple of players waved out of that circle. Now Lafleur against Boutet. Turnbull and Hutchison playing up, and the Canadiens get the draw. McKechnie stops it, cleared it. It's into the corner. Here is Engblom. Engblom into the center ice area. Ahead to Lafleur. Lafleur over the line. Back it goes to Napier. To the other side to Engblom. Turnbull in the corner against Mondeau, and they get a whistle. The crowd tonight, not a big crowd. This happens so often in the playoffs. I suppose it's because of the increase in price. 15,946 is the crowd. That's one of the smaller crowds of the year, because the attendance at the Forum in Montreal has been substantially up over last year.
Well, the ones who didn't show up are missing a fine hockey game, that's for sure.
Indeed they are. Mondeau on the face-off. Turnbull behind the net. He lost it. It's tipped to the crease by Napier. The Leafs roll it down on the left side. We have Lafleur out now on this line with Napier and Mondeau. Robinson is tied up by Ellis. Here's Boutet laying it back to Turnbull. Salming on the other side. His pass to the Canadiens line, and they're going into a rather cautious pattern ending this period as they started the period. Engblom was upended by Turnbull. Less than a minute to play in the second period. Turnbull, ahead it goes to Boutet. Boutet swings over to the left side, shooting it into Canadiens territory. Now Sittler moves in. Randy McDonald is off the bench. So is Maloney. The Leafs may have had too many men on the ice. Lemaire takes the shot. He's wide. Now the puck comes on the far boards at the line. Lapointe kept it in, and it's a delayed offside. There was a fan reaction when the Leafs were changing, and I saw Maloney scurry back to the bench.
One of the things that makes the Montreal Canadiens special, Danny, is the way they pass the puck. A lot of teams have good passers, have good offensive hockey players, but the Leafs don't hold, or pardon me, the Canadiens don't hold on to the puck very long. They get it and it's gone to someone else in a big hurry.
Now we have 26 seconds left in the second period. Salming over to Burroughs. The Leafs 2 and the Canadiens 2 with Maloney on the ice finally clearing it in. Lapointe knocked it into the center ice area. Salming laying it down on the wing. Savard taken in on the boards by Sittler. Salming bumping Gainey rather gently, and that brings us down to 7 seconds. Neither team, of course, wants to give up a goal in the final seconds of a period. Somehow or other, everybody seems to think that the team that scores that goal late in the period gets what they call momentum. You've heard that, have you?
Yes, for sure, and they do say it's a real bad goal to give up in the last minute of a period.
But you subscribe to momentum, do you?
For sure.
Puck is down the ice into Toronto territory, and this is going to bring about the end of the period. 23-17, the shots on goal for Montreal after 2 periods, and so the score at the end of the second period, Toronto 2, Montreal 2.
Let's hear it on weekends. You can do what you want to do then. Hey, are you breaking away this weekend? Hey, breaking away for the good times. Hey, breaking away for the good times. Hey, are you breaking away this weekend? Then raise a glass of the beer. Let's brew for this country. Molson Canadian, raise a glass of Canadian to the good times.
As a boy, I loved to fish. Now I own a fleet. With every catch, the company used to get tangled up with paperwork. Then I heard of AES word processing systems. Our productivity doubled without any complaints. In fact, they thanked me. Store work on diskettes. Make revisions on the screen. Type perfect copies at 540 words per minute. The money AES saves me this year could help buy another boat.
The deuces are wild here at the Forum in Montreal. 2-2 at the end of 2. Lanny McDonald scoring for Toronto in the first period. It was 2-0 Leafs after Maloney's goal early in the second. The Canadiens came back to tie it on goals by Steve Shutt and Guy Lafleur on a power play in that second period. Montreal outshot Toronto 15-11. Mike Palmatier made some sensational saves. Well, at this part of our intermission, it's my pleasure to welcome for the first of what I'm sure will be many Fisher reports during the playoffs, my good friend Red Fisher of the Montreal Star. And the topic under discussion right now is going to be the Stanley Cup quarterfinals. They are beginning tonight, Red, on 4 fronts. All right, first of all, this one right here.
Well, Dick, if it's predictions you're asking for, here they come. Coming right at you out there. The Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm sure that most of the people out there, Dick, have to feel that the Montreal Canadiens are going to take the Toronto Maple Leafs. But with all due respect to this Toronto club, which cranks itself up for the playoffs, I'm sure that a lot of people are probably wondering just a little bit after the first period with the Leafs leading 2-0. But Canadiens can come back, did come back with 2 goals in the second period. The game is far from over, mind you, but I would have to think that the Canadiens, who haven't lost a game to the Maple Leafs all season, should take this series in 5 games, 6 at the outside. The Islanders, Chicago, what are you going to say about the Islanders? By far the stronger team. They won the series over Chicago, of course, during the regular season. The Islanders should not lose a game, I don't think, to Chicago. If they do lose one, it'll be solely because of Tony Esposito and the Chicago Nets. I must confess, I cannot tell a lie, Dick, that coming into the Forum tonight, I felt that perhaps if there was one area in which there was going to be a major upset, it could be Pittsburgh-Boston. I was very much impressed with Pittsburgh winning 2 games on the road against Buffalo in the preliminary series, With the score 6-1 for Boston in the third period, what can I say, folks? I would have to think that Boston has found itself. Certainly tonight they found themselves. They should carry on the wings of this obviously big victory that they're heading for, and should beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in their quarterfinals. The other series, Rangers, Philadelphia, my goodness, that should be a good, long, tough series. I would have to think that even though the Rangers are leading the game in Philadelphia 2-1, Philadelphia, well, they haven't lost a game in New York this season. I think that perhaps they might be able to take this series in 7 games. Obviously, their goaltending is suspect, but so is the Rangers' goaltending, but the Philadelphia Flyers do have Bobby Clark. Each time they see Freddie Shero behind the Rangers bench, eyes must flash throughout the Philadelphia lineup, and I think that perhaps they can come back and perhaps win this series against the Rangers in 7.
We have just had a true confession, if you let us in on your innermost thoughts when you walked in the ring. Darryl Sittler said in the interview I did with him earlier tonight, home ice doesn't mean that much to the Maple Leafs. Looking at all of these rounds, is there anywhere that home ice might turn, for example, Rangers-Philly?
I'll tell you one thing. If Darryl says home ice doesn't mean much to the Maple Leafs, I would much rather have home ice, whether I'm the Maple Leafs, the Canadiens, the Islanders, or anybody. Home ice has to help a great deal. It always has helped, and it will help in the current series.
Thank you very much, Red. Red Fisher with his fearless predictions on our Fisher Report. 2-2 the score here after 2. Stanley Cup 79 continues in just a moment.
In celebration of Ford of Canada's 75th anniversary, your Ford and Mercury dealers present Beautiful Value Days. We're celebrating with the luxurious Diamond Jubilee cars, Ford LTD, and Mercury Marquis. And there's more during Beautiful Value Days. 50% off beautiful styling option packages on Ford, Futura, Granada, Fairmont, Mercury, Zephyr, Monarch, and Z7. Beautiful values today. Details at Ford and Mercury dealers.
Jennings, we're in the pink. Still perfect. Good as new. Very good, sir. When I restored this house 20 years ago, I had bats and bats of fiberglass pink insulation put in, and it's still effective. People thought me a little strange then. Today, they just admire my foresight. Take my advice. When you insulate your home, do it right with fiberglass pink insulation. It never wears out.
For the past several years, a program known as the Hockey Cultural Exchange has been going on here in the province of Quebec. The Canadian hockey team and the Forum have been very much behind this project from the start. It's one in which the real winners are the kids, and that's the most important thing. And here's a look at it now. This bus, arriving at the Recreation Center in Beaconsfield, a suburban area on the west island of Montreal, carried young French-speaking hockey players from the Gatineau region. They were making the trip as part of a cultural exchange program in which French and English youngsters get to live together and play together with the game of hockey as the catalyst. As the youngsters greeted each other for the first time, so did the parents. For the kids, the moment of their first meeting was a chance to practice what they've been learning of the second language in the classroom. In short order, language was no barrier. There was an official introduction to the weekend's festivities, here handled bilingually by Don Harvey, who then turned things over to the prime organizer of the exchange, Bob Beal, who welcomed all concerned in both languages.
Thank you very much. Merci. À tout le monde, à Gatineau, et Beaconsfield pour participer dans notre programme culturel, subventionné par le club de hockey canadien. I welcome both Beaconsfield and Gatineau to the hockey culture program on behalf of the Montreal Canadiens Hockey Club and the Canadian Arena Company. The first two boys.
The visitors were billeted at Beaconsfield homes, and here, one of the hosts, Patrick Murphy, greets his weekend guest, Richard Gagnon. Ray-Jan Houle of the Montreal Canadiens added a celebrity touch to the proceedings, presenting each youngster with a helmet and a hockey stick. Next step, the walk home. Here, Patrick's mother, festivities here handled bilingually by Don Harvey, who then turned things over to the prime organizer of the exchange, Bob Beal, who welcomed all concerned in both languages.
Thank you very much. Merci. À tout le monde, à Gatineau, et ici pour participer dans le programme culturel subventionné par le club de hockey canadien. I welcome both Bakersfield and Gatineau to the hockey culture program on behalf of the Montreal Canadiens Hockey Club and the Canadian Arena Company. The first two boys.
The visitors were billeted at Beaconsfield Homes, and here, one of the hosts, Patrick Murphy, greets his weekend guest, Richard Gagnon. Ray-Jan Houle of the Montreal Canadiens added a celebrity touch to the proceedings, presenting each youngster with a helmet and a hockey stick. Next step, the walk home. Here, Patrick's mother, Ruth Murphy, welcomed Richard to their family circle.
You must be Richard. Bienvenue à Beaconsfield, Richard. Bien content de te voir. Richard, j'aimerais te présenter les deux sœurs de Patrick. Ça, c'est Marguerite. Bonjour. Puis ça, c'est Marie-Louise. Bonjour. Puis ça, c'est le frère de Patrick. Ça, c'est James. Bonjour. Veux-tu un verre de lait, Richard? Oui.
Mrs. Murphy's husband, the late Hal Murphy, was once a professional goaltender and played briefly for the Montreal Canadiens in the early 1950s. The atmosphere during the first meal was perhaps a bit stiff, but it didn't take long for Richard to start feeling that he was one of the family.
Richard, mange. Sois fort. T'as parti demain après-midi.
On Saturday afternoon, the big moment, the hockey game at the Forum, where a couple of hours after they were finished, the Canadiens would be taking to the ice for an NHL game. They arrive and they get ready, just like the pros. The afternoon's activities were not confined to just the hockey game. A series of tests were conducted, putting the youngsters through some skill-testing hockey drills. Roger Doucette's Stirring O Canada was followed by an exchange of gifts between the two teams. And then the game was underway.
Watch your man, Patrick. Come on. Oh, come on, Daddy!
His first goal at the Forum. It might not be his last. From the beginning, officials of the Canadiens Hockey Club, with Jean Beliveau in charge, have taken an active interest in the project. The Forum has always been available, and the youngsters and their parents are supplied with tickets to the NHL game that same night. Following the game, the traditional handshake. And after this particular contest, another thrill for the kids. Crests, presented by Guy Lafleur and Ray-Jan Houle. And then the next day, the goodbyes, the conclusion to another successful cultural exchange hockey weekend. Our congratulations to Bob Beal, the prime organizer. Certainly Jean Beliveau has been a driving force behind the cultural exchange program right from the beginning. Plans are already underway for next year. 2-2, the Leafs and the Canadiens, after 2 periods, will return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment.
Kentucky Fried Chicken is really finger-licking.
Good chicken.
Kentucky Fried Chicken is really finger-licking.
Good chicken. Take home a meal that's got plenty of nutrition for your family. Take home Kentucky Fried Chicken and all the fixings. It's a wholesome dinner, and dinner's ready now.
Colonel Sanders, boys and girls, make it really finger-licking.
Good chicken.
It's a sun tire in the summer. It's a rain tire spring and fall. It's a traction tire in winter. It's the one that does it all. Goodyear's new Tiempo for all seasons, for all year. It holds on rain-slick roads, yet runs quiet in the clear.
Tiempo is a tough double steel belted radial with a special tread design for all kinds of weather.
Rain tire, sun tire, one tire Tiempo does it all.
Now, from Braun into the domain of the rotary shaver comes the new Braun Micron. Look, this is the shaving area of the rotary head. The Braun Micron foil is 30% thinner for a closer, cleaner shave. The thinner the foil, the closer Braun shaves. Our design is to shave you closer than the rotary. The new Braun Micron.
It is a grinding, rugged struggle here at the Montreal Forum between the Leafs and the Canadiens. It's tied at 2-2. McDonald and Maloney scoring for Toronto. Schutt and Lafleur for the Montreal Canadiens. And mentioning Lafleur, Jerry Pinder, Roger Nielsen has selected Pat Boutette to cover Guy Lafleur, and I would think that was a good move because Boutette is a rather excellent type of skater.
It was a very good move by Roger Nielsen. Boutette is covering him like a tent all night. And I'm really interested in Lafleur's reaction, which I think has been exceptional to this point, because rather than get angry and throw an elbow or a slash or something like that, he's using a ho-hum attitude. And they would like nothing better to get Guy Lafleur off the ice and in a penalty situation, but he just isn't biting.
It should be a rather tense third period. You have about 5 seconds.
Without a doubt.
Live from the Forum in Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Patch roof leaks the easy way with Tremco Instant Patch. Use it in almost any weather to stop leaks on roofs, chimneys, and gutters. Instant Patch's exclusive formula of glass and organic fibers dries to a tough membrane that seals holes up to 1/4 inch in diameter. Tremco Instant Patch by the makers of Tremclad, Canada's #1 rust paint. Look for Instant Patch and other fine Tremco products in this Tremco Home Maintenance Center, wherever you buy paint or home care items.
Well, it's high time I was breaking away, 'cause it's my time. Gonna have it my way, gonna grab my friends and head out today. We're gonna raise our glass to the good times. Molson Canadians, Molson Canadians, raise a glass of Canadians, raise a glass to the good times.
Again, we have the Montreal Canadiens back onto the ice rather quickly, still awaiting the arrival of the Toronto Maple Leafs with the score. Tied at 2 goals. We take a look at Ken Dryden. He will be defending down in the north end. In the south end, it'll be Paul Matier. The shots on goal, 23-17. And, Jerry, we have not the official tabulation of the face-offs, but I would think Toronto has won the face-offs about 2-1. And a player who has impressed me very, very much in face-offs, Walt McKechnie.
Well, that's right. Toronto's doing a heck of a job in that area. But don't forget that the main man on the Montreal organization for face-offs is Dougie Jarvis, and of course he's injured, so they can't use him in important situations. And this has to be a big advantage for Toronto, because as has been said time and time again, face-offs play a very important part of the game today.
What have we on the out-of-town scoreboard at the end of 2 periods? The Islanders leading Chicago 4-2. We have Boston in the 3rd period ahead of Pittsburgh 6-1. And now it is a final score in Boston. The Bruins 6-2. And we have the Rangers 2, Philadelphia 1. That is at the end of the second period. Mike Palmateer, what a story he has been for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's amazing when you're playing well how sharp the development of confidence within yourself is. You notice a couple of times in the second period, there's that final 6-2. He very nonchalant, fashion-like, moved around, took his time. It almost got him there once, but he is a fine goaltender.
He's come to the point now where he may be regarded as the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. And you're talking about your Tony Espositos and Ken Dryden and Jerry Cheevers. You're talking about an excellent goaltender.
For Toronto, Jones will go to center. Boutet, as usual, on left wing, covering Guy Lafleur. Butler is on the right side. Lemaire between Schutt and Lafleur. And now the third period is underway. Salmi back at the line. Short side 2-2 up on the wing it goes off Burrow's stick. And Savard has it. Robinson getting it ahead to Lafleur over the other side to Lemaire, and it is called on the offside. The next game in this series will be played here at the Montreal Forum on Wednesday night, and then the scene shifts to Toronto for games not Friday and Sunday, but Saturday and Sunday at Maple Leaf Gardens. Now Salmi drifts the long shot in. Robinson from in front of the net. Robinson leading the attack for Montreal. The pass is stopped back on the right side as Jones. He winds up. There's the shot! And a big, quick leg save by Dryden. Jones was going for the far side. And he had the target. Butler shooting it. He almost banged on it. And the Leafs pressing here, and the Canadiens tipping it out over the line, led by Lafleur, and it goes over the board.
Well, we have the same situation here, Danny. Pat Boutet covering Lafleur very well. And he really hasn't had much room to move tonight, but then you look at the scoring statistics, and he has a goal and an assist, so that isn't too bad.
Now then, Gainey off the bench along with Risebrough. Scotty Bowman decides to send Lafleur back on. So the line here will be Lemaire at center, Lafleur on the right side, Gainey on the left wing. McDonald, Sittler, and Boutet, of course, stays out there with Lafleur remaining on the ice for Montreal, and Savard ahead on the wing. It goes to Lemaire into the center ice area to Lafleur. He was upended just crossing the line. That brought a reaction from the Canadian supporters. Toronto trying to get it out. They do. Into the center ice area. Gainey shovels it over on the far wing. Turnbull with Lafleur after him. Turnbull is forced into the corner. Now Lemaire goes in there. Lemaire playing it. Turnbull hooked it back into the corner. Lafleur going after it. Lemaire has it. He jostles with Sittler on the board. Sittler kneels, and the puck is under him. One minute and 24 seconds have elapsed into the third period, and now Roger Nielsen is sending out McKechnie, Maloney. They combined for a beautiful goal, the second Toronto goal. Lanny McDonald is coming on. So Nielsen making quick changes here in the early stages of the third period.
Scotty Bowman has the last change, and he's just waiting to see whether Pat Boutet goes off or not, and in order to maybe put Lafleur back on the ice. But now we see Lafleur sitting down on the bench, so I guess he's not going to go back out.
Scotty Bowman, 529 victories during regular NHL play. You saw him behind the bench. Rumors that he's going to leave. Every year it happens. But you can rest assured he'll remain in the National Hockey League until he has chalked up 700 victories. That will be about 4 years. There's a shot. Oh, it ricocheted just wide. That was a screen shot with Kenville and Lemaire blocking Palmateer. Now the Canadiens keeping it in. Napier along the boards. He swings it over to the other side. Kenville has it for Toronto. It goes to center. Robinson's pass Now Gainey sweeps it to the other side. Here is Savard. His shot is blocked by McKechnie. McKechnie ahead to Maloney. He stepped in there too quickly.
Well, there's big Larry Robinson quickly there without his beard he was sporting for the last month or so. Dan Maloney getting that second Toronto goal. Jerry, I overheard Danny talking to some of his maritime friends before the game, saying that he was going to be surrounded by the Saskatchewan connection here tonight.
I don't know. It's a very difficult league in which to perform.
Well, that was a difficult performance turned in by Palmateer, but he did the job. That shot by Savard got behind him. We look at it from this angle. Oh, and ricocheted off his skate. See that right in front of the net?
Yeah, ricochet. Look. Turnbull sliding it over to Kenville. Too far for McKechnie, and now Mondeau on the right side. He has Tremblay with a Mondeau. A rising shot off the stick of Turnbull over the glass.
I wonder how important, Dick, the Montreal bench is going to be in this series. They have probably more depth than any team in professional hockey right now.
Funny thing tonight here is both coaches are not really using everybody. For example, players like Wilson, Gardner, Anderson not seeing much service for Toronto. Lupien, Napier, Connor, Poole for Montreal.
Now Kenville sliding it to the right side to McDonald. McDonald ripped that shot, but in very quickly on the left side was Maloney, and that's another offside infraction against the Leafs.
Well, Brian Engblom got hit by that shot, shaken up just a bit. There is Serge Savard. He didn't know that he was playing in his 103rd Stanley Cup game tonight. He doesn't keep track of such things. Won the Conn Smythe Trophy in his second playoff year, 1969.
And you look back a number of years ago, all the unfortunate breaks he had to the tune of 2 broken legs. Now Salming out to center. Maloney dropping it back to McKechnie. Maloney along the boards against Tremblay. They fall. And let's see, a whistle again. So we have a fair frequency of whistles in the early stages of the third period.
When we're talking about the Montreal bench strength, we can't forget that Pierre LaRouche and Pat Hughes, both tremendous hockey players, aren't even in uniform tonight. And that's an indication of just how much bench strength they really do have.
There's a familiar story in from the Nassau County Coliseum. Mike Bossy has scored a goal for the Islanders. Murray for Chicago. It's now at the end of 2, and the Islanders lead the Blackhawks 4-2.
A good shot of linesman Ron Finn. He is waiting to drop the puck between Sittler and Risebrow to the right of Dryden. Salming and Burroughs in over the line. From the face-off, Anderson tried to get a shot. Now Burroughs shooting it wide. Dryden cleared the rebound into the corner. Chartrand to the other side with it. Anderson after Robinson. Savard losing it. Sittler centered it. Canadiens starting off. Lambert on the right side to Chartrand. Chartrand over to Risebrow. Good back-checking by Anderson. Number 10, he got back there to intercept that pass. Here is Robinson. He lost it. It's recovered by Lambert. Lambert playing it ahead up on the left side. Tiger Williams against Savard. He got his elbows up on Savard. Here's Salming firing at a quick shot. He has a beautiful wrist shot. And Dryden had to be very, very quick on that. Now Risebrow out on the right side for Chartrand. He tipped it ahead going in against Burroughs. To the other side, Hutchison and Lambert along the boards. Robinson can't keep it in. Toronto Maple Leafs. Here's Sittler dropping it back. It's at the line. Lafleur wheels away. Chases it to the right side. He tried to get a pass to Lambert. Down on the right side, Turnbull, an excellent rushing defenseman. Turnbull is in over the line. Turnbull around the net. Tried to center it. Into the corner it goes Lemire. Playing it against the boards. Back to the line. Hutchison shooting it. A weak shot. Robinson on the left side. Pass goes through center. We're nearing the 5th minute mark in the third period. The score is tied at 2. Up on the right side. Canadiens keeping it in. Here's shot. Back it goes. They score! Lemire!
Jerry, a lot of things happened right there, but I think a big key had to be Lemire just letting it go as soon as he got it.
Well, he's famous for this for many, many years in the National Hockey League. We're going to have a replay here. Watch Shutt steal the puck away from Hutchison. He's making a pass off the boards, and Shutt takes, he makes a heck of a play. Lemaire just lets it go, doesn't even bother to stop it, and what that really does is it doesn't give Mike Palmetier a chance to get set.
No chance at all. Hutchison threw the puck away off the board, and it cost the Leafs. And the Canadiens, who were down 2-0 in the second period, have now taken a 3-2 lead.
Canadian goal was scored by number 25, Jacques Lemaire, assisted by number 22, Steve Shutt, at 4:23.
So each member of that line with a goal, Montreal has taken the lead to 3-2. Toronto Maple Leafs, 4 of them out over the line into the center ice area. Boutet lost it. Burroughs back in his own zone. Pass ricochets over to the wing. Butler clearing it, he hit Lafleur. He goes in after Salming. Butler moving in for good measure. They might get a whistle here as a cluster of players come up against the boards in the corner.
From the Forum in Montreal, this is Stanley Cup 79.
The GE food machine. It slices carrots, shreds cabbage, grates cheese, chops onions, and grinds beef in just seconds. Set to pulse action for necessary precise control. Continuous action for longer cycles. The food machine. It works fast, and that's good. It's easy to clean, and that's great. The time-saving, work-saving food machine from Canadian General Electric.
Face off to the right of Palmetier.
Now there's a close-up look at Palmetier trying to get in position for the shot from this fellow, Jacques Lemaire, but Lemaire beat him on the drive.
McKechnie against Mondeau. Leafs start out quickly. Ellis, the veteran, comes through center, hits the Montreal line, over goes to Maloney. There's the shot, it's off a leg. They center it, back it comes. Salming trying to keep it in. He slides on the ice. What a great play by Salming, keeping it in. Here's McKechnie. McKechnie centering it. It goes across the lip of the crease. Canadians shooting it out. Englund got it to center. So you'll have the application of pressure now by the Toronto Maple Leafs. McKechnie, quick Napier, and a huge reaction on that from the Canadian supporters. Now the puck into the center ice area. It's whipped back in by Tremblay. Mondeau going in rather slowly against Salming. Ellis on the right side at center. Goes over on the other side. Ellis over the line. There's the shot. Wide the rebound. Dryden giving it to Savard. Savard on the right side for Chartrand. Chartrand dumping it to the corner. There's Gainey going in. Palmetier watches him. Gainey getting it back. The Leafs. Gardner tipping it out to center. I think that's the first regular shift that Gardner has had tonight. He has been on previously on the power play, number 18. Anderson over on the far side. Williams chasing it. Canadians clearing it. Offside against Toronto.
Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
When I was growing up in this country, owning a home was taken pretty much for granted. For many today, it's a dream. The people at Scotiabank believe in dreams. Dreams and hard-working people. If you've got a new home in your future, see the people at Scotiabank. When it comes to your dream, they've got everything you need.
Here's the scoring summary. We had 14 penalties called in the first period, 3 in the second, and I don't think there's been one here in this third period, has there?
Turnbull shooting it in. McDonald coming from the other side. Now Gainey on the left wing. Rolled it in over the line. There's Turnbull watching Chartrand. They bump solidly. McDonald up into the center ice area for Gardner. Gardner at the line, going in on goal. Shoots, and Dryden had that one go off his left arm. Gardner was able to get right in there, and he let it go point-blank range. Puck goes to the Leafs bench.
Our team won't get a much better chance at a 3-on-2, I'll tell you. Right here. Pretty good gunner had the chance, too, Jerry.
Dryden made a good stop on that play. As the game progresses, Dick and Danny, you know, the Canadiens with the 3-2 lead, Toronto has to continually open up more and more as the game goes on, and this is just eating into Montreal's, eating right out of their hands, because that's the style they love to play, is a wide open game.
That's why he had Gardner out there right here, Danny mentioned.
Salming on the right wing at center. Loses it. Here's Robinson along with Lafleur. Over the line, Lafleur going in. Right in front. They score! Lemaire!
Well, Jerry, just as you say, the Leafs, they were caught that time. You can't really say it was as a result of a Toronto attack, but you're right, that's the pattern that has developed in the hockey game.
Well, watch the play Lafleur makes here after Robinson passes the puck to him. He waits, and has the defenseman at his mercy here. He goes down, and then he feeds it to Lemaire in the center of the ice about 15 feet in front of the goaltender, and no goalie has a chance.
Salming falls on the play, I think right here. And that eliminates him from the initial rush. I don't think he ever really gets back. And Lafleur plays it back to Lemaire rather than across to Robinson. Salming got in all right. He did manage to recover. 4-2 Montreal.
By number 25, Jacques Lemaire, assisted by number 10, Guy Lafleur, and number 19, Larry Robinson at 7.
Here's another look at it, and we're going to see how Lafleur has this defenseman at his mercy here with 2 or 3 options. He chooses to sees Lemaire coming through the center and makes the obvious play.
Lapointe moving away from the Canadiens' blue line, tipping it into the corner. Lemaire, who's had a big third period, his pass picked up by Boutet ahead to Anderson. Anderson with Sittler. Anderson getting set, takes the shot, it goes off Engblom. In behind the net, they struggle for it. Sittler trying to get it into the crease, it's still loose. A shot by Sittler, and I think he hit his teammate Anderson or Engblom. That was a glorious scoring opportunity for Sittler. Now Lafleur coming in over the line. Here's Lafleur. Taking his time. Flipped it into the corner for Lemaire. He ran into Salming. Anderson right in front. Tremblay takes the shot. Now Napier. Napier twisting and turning. A penalty coming up. Napier centers it off the board. Dryden is out of the net. The penalty coming up. And is it Salming who is going up? Salming.
Dryden had made it to the bench on the delayed call on Boreas Salming, who has to be a little bit frustrated. Boy, the mobility of that Salming is amazing, how he got back on that play, although Lemaire scored the goal. Canadiens lead 4-2. This is Stanley Cup 79 from the Forum in Montreal.
Mercury Marquis, scientifically designed, totally new in the tailored dimensions of today. Yet, in its new size, Marquis has more hip room for even greater 6-passenger comfort, offers more trunk space than last year, and has improved fuel economy and handling characteristics. Mercury Marquis, ride and spacious elegance. You like its new dimension at the sign of the cat.
Boreas Salming of the Maple Leafs off for slashing at 8:25. Boston has beaten Pittsburgh. That game is over. 6-2 final score at the Garden. And now at the end of 2, it's still Rangers ahead of Philadelphia 2-1.
Robinson along the boards against Butler. Shot. Played it to the other side. Here's Lapointe back to Robinson. Robinson giving it to Mondeau. Back to Robinson. Over to Lapointe. Lapointe to Robinson. Robinson into Mondeau. Mondeau to Robinson. He winds up off the leg and rolls in front. Here's Robinson getting it over to Lapointe. Lapointe shooting it in there. Puck loose in front of the net. And Hutchison cleared it away and shoots it down the ice. 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the penalty. Napier flipping it in. Shutt going in. Around the net, Butler after him. Pass out is intercepted by Jones. And Hutchison again shoots it down the ice. We have a change in the power play alignment for the Canadiens. Lafleur is on the ice now to play with Mondeau, Shutt, Lapointe, and Robinson. McKechnie comes on for Toronto. Ahead to Mondeau. He cleared it in. Lafleur on the move. Hutchison fired it off the glass. And it's in among the spectators.
You know, Jerry, there's an old saying, you miss them at one end, they get them at the other. And that 3-on-2 break that Gardner played pretty well and let the shot go, Dryden got a piece of the puck. That would have made it 3-3. It was a great chance for the Leafs. They go right up the ice, and the Canadiens score right after that, and it's a 4-2 hockey game.
That's going to turn out to be a key play in the game. And again, Kenny Dryden, in the second period in particular, wasn't tested that severely, but he was there when he had to be in that particular shot by Gardner, because he really whistled it.
Lemaire with both goals here, breaking the 2-2 tie in the third.
Lapointe over for Robinson. Robinson in the corner, each tied up. Lambert comes up with it in front. Lemaire was upended. Here's Lafleur. Lafleur turning. Lafleur over to Robinson, right in front. They score! Lambert! Beautifully executed goal.
Second power play goal of the night for Montreal, and the second power play goal, Jerry, set up by tremendous puck control.
Well, this is what the Canadiens are famous for. Watch it. It's just unbelievable here. Lafleur gets the puck. Now he's going to make the play to Larry Robinson, and Robinson passes it to a wide open Yvon Lambert in front of the net. Palmentier's gambling in that particular situation didn't pay off, but it has so many times before. And a smart hockey club is going to notice that Palmentier attacks and gambles an awful lot. And if you get the opportunity on a power play, that's the obvious way to beat him. Just pass it by him, which is exactly what Montreal did.
Yvon Lambert, assisted by number 19, Larry Robinson, and number 10, Guy Lafleur, at 9:59.
9:59. The time of that fifth goal. Lambert for Robinson and Lafleur, a power play goal. Leafs coming up. Anderson shoots it. Here's Ellis trying to center it. And he hit Risebrough with it. Risebrough to Chartrand. Over on the wing to Gainey. So the Canadiens have scored 5 goals without a retaliation. In other words, the Leafs at one stage in this hockey game led 2-0 on goals by Maloney and McDonald. The 2-2 tie was broken in this period. 2 consecutive goals by Lemaire and the last one by Lambert. Here's Ellis over the line. Ellis to Anderson. It's off his stick. Mondu skedaddling down on the right side. Maybe he'll pass. No, he doesn't. And Anderson cleared it out. Sittler over on the right side to Ellis. Ellis over the line. There's the shot. Dryden. It knocks Dryden's mask off. Here's Salming shooting it. His shot is high. Dryden is still down. His mask is in behind him. That was a wicked shot. On the right side, Tremblay takes a shot. Blocked by Palmentier. Now Dryden trying to get his mask on. Here's Savard shooting it. And it went off Turnbull. McDonald up on the right side. He has Williams with him. A hard, long drive. Dryden got his glove out there. Williams went after Engblom. Here's Turnbull chopping a shot. Rebound goes to Savard. He was bumped by Williams. It's cleared down into Toronto territory. Back after it is Hutchison. Risebrough ahead to Lafleur. Here's Lafleur breaking in on goal. Over to Gainey going in a goal. And he lost it. He couldn't make contact and it rolled into Palmentier.
So we've had close chances at both ends of the rink. Danny, do you remember the last time Ken Dryden lost his mask? In Boston in the deciding game 2 years ago. But here comes Lafleur setting up Gainey on the return rush. Gainey never did get control of the puck, Jerry.
No, Palmentier again makes a heck of a play with his stick as Gainey was trying to either pull it by him or flip the puck over him. We'll get another look.
Now there's where Dryden loses the mask. There, Danny, see, I told you he shaved his mustache off.
That was a shot by Ron Allison. He could fire it too, but I wouldn't want to have been Dryden in there without the mask on after playing with it for so many years.
Remember that goal that Boston scored? It was in the fourth game in '77, and he lost the mask, and they scored on the play.
That was the year they won the Stanley Cup in overtime on the Lemaire goal. Here's Lafleur centering it. McDonald clearing it to Boutet. Boutet coming down with McDonald. They hit the Montreal line. Boutet going in against Robinson. Lemaire rolled it into the center ice area. Montreal 5, Toronto 2. Here's Lafleur. LaFleur back at the line, gives it to Lemaire. The shot. Palmatier clearing it back. Lemaire has it right over the line. Robinson to LaPointe. Now Robinson on the left side comes to center. Robinson having a big night offensively. How many points has he, Dick? Three assists. McDonald was upended by Robinson. That looked like a penalty, but I guess the referee didn't see it. Now on the right side at center, it's off Salming's stick to the Leafs bench.
With the score, the Canadiens 5, the Maple Leafs 2. This is Stanley Cup 79.
There's only one.
Hey, where are you going?
We're going to get some beer.
Well, we've got some in the fridge.
But your dad's coming. I want to get some Brador. There's only one.
Hey, Brador, what's the occasion?
Have a seat. Occasion? Gary brought back my snowblower.
There's only one.
Hey, Craig, I got those playoff tickets. That cost for a Brador.
There's only one Brador.
Shots on goal to this point of the game. Canadiens ahead 32-25. 7:06 left in regulation time. Guess we should get used to saying that, Danny, in the playoffs.
That is right, Dick. 5-2 the score. 7 minutes exactly left in regulation now. Here's Kenville. Kenville coming up on the right side. Napier cleared it back in. Chartrand, Napier, and Risebrough doing the forward-checking for the Canadiens. Their strategy, of course, try and tie up the Leafs before they can get their offense into operation. Here's Gardner into Canadiens territory. Gardner around the net. He was tripped by Engblom. There's a shot from the short side. Blocked off the stick of Maloney. A lead pass. Rolls into Toronto territory. Napier trying to come up with it. Face-off will be outside of the line. It went off the stick over the glass in the corner.
A reminder here that our coverage of this quarterfinal series between the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens continues Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, with Game 2 played at the Forum here in Montreal. And remember that Games 3 and 4 will be at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto next Saturday and Sunday nights. But Game 2, Wednesday, from the Forum.
Here's Turnbull at the line, lost it, falling. It's cleared out by Tremblay. Lemaire coming down over the line. Again, good back checking by Anderson, and there the rookie goes, coming back in along the boards. Anderson has been very impressive, particularly with his back checking and his skating here in the third period. Lambert is in over the Toronto line. Lambert around the net, trying to center it. Back it comes in front. Lemaire couldn't get it. Finally up on the right side, Ellis. Ahead to Sittler. He winds up. Oh, what a scintillating save by Dryden with that left glove hand. Tremendous shot. Right in front of Lambert. Rolled off his stick. Palmatier did not like the way Tremblay went in on top of him after Palmatier had squeezed that puck between his pads.
And Palmatier broke his stick in the process. Or vice versa. So now we get Tremblay and Palmatier exchanging unpleasantries from long range. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
We're saving $600.
We're saving
This family has rented a Ryder truck
We're saving
and moved
600
500 miles.
We're saving 600.
By packing and moving themselves, they saved a lot of money over what professional movers wanted. True, when you rent a Ryder truck, you have to do the work yourself.
We're saving 600.
But if you just keep repeating how much money you're saving, you'll be amazed how much lighter those cartons will seem.
We're saving $600.
Moment ago here, Jerry Kenny Dryden made his best save of the night off Sittler right there.
A fantastic save by Dryden. And Roger Nielsen has got Gardner out there playing now. He's got to go with his goal scorers. But it's a real tough position for Gardner to be in.
Now there's the chance for Lambert. He goes by. Palmatier makes the save. Tremblay skates by. The puck underneath him. Zingo. There goes the goal stick. 6-2 now. The Islanders leading Chicago. Bossy again and Denny Potvin in the third period. And with 8 minutes to go at the Spectrum, the Rangers still ahead of the Flyers. Danny, 2-1.
Leafs into the center ice area. Maloney clearing it over the line. Robinson up on the left side for Gainey. He goes down with Risebrow and Chartrand. Chartrand cutting in from the right side. Maloney against Risebrow. Here is Salming. Salming coming up. Gives it to Maloney on the left side over the line to McKechnie. And that rush is wiped out with the offside.
I don't know if we reported all of those goals from the island, but Boyk Bossy has a hat trick. Will he ever stop?
Yes, right after the hockey season ends.
He is just an incredible story. There's Dougie Risebrow. We asked him before the game if he thought the Canadiens could adjust if the Leafs tried to turn it into a tight-checking rough series.
Certainly we know that Toronto's a close checking team, but we've also won the Vezina Trophy on checking too, and we feel that we can match them in the checking and hopefully outmatch them in the skating.
Now Gainey rolled it down on the left side. It went up, I think, and hit a fan and then dropped back. It was into the fan's hand, I think, for a fraction of a second. So less than 5 minutes left now in regulation time of this opening game of a best-of-7 quarterfinal series. Scotty Bowman, who did not look happy at the end of the first. He doesn't look happy right now, as a matter of fact. But the Leafs were the masters in the early part of the hockey game, opening up that 2-0 lead. But right now the Canadiens are in front 5-2. There's McDonald bumping with Robinson. LaPointe cleared it out over the line. McKechnie, he gloved it ahead, the Canadian player Risebrow, but it was a Toronto player who picked it up, so there was no whistle. Robinson into the center ice area to Risebrow. Coming down with Gainey. Over the line. Shot away wide. Salming into the corner for Maloney. Maloney passing it out. It's broken up, stopped by Lafleur. Now a pass intercepted by Lemaire over for Lafleur. He couldn't negotiate contact, and Burroughs and Lafleur in on the boards with 4:16 left.
Well, Jerry Pinder, we don't want to berate this issue, but you called it. The Leafs had their game plan against Guy Lafleur and the Canadiens, and they started out with it. It worked well. They had the 2-0 lead in the second period, but it seemed that right at that point, as soon as they got ahead 2-0, they abandoned the rough play, if not rough, the physical type play.
They did in the second period. I don't know why they abandoned it. It could possibly be because Montreal has started to really move, and once Montreal starts flying, they're very difficult to catch. And this has caused Toronto the problem now, and this is why they're down 5-2. But they're going to come back the next game, and they're going to start to play the game physical again.
Lemaire upended by Gardner. Here's Gardner, a neat pass on the right side to Boutet. Boutet over the line. He lost it. Shot. Pass goes to the open wing. Lemaire was skating over to the left side from the right. Now Turnbull. Pass to Hutchison. Lafleur was upended. Hutchison starting out. Lafleur is on it, and he cleared it back in. 3 minutes and 43 seconds left in regulation time, and this the third period. 5-2. Now the puck is down into Canadiens territory. Savard touches it, and that's icing against the Leafs.
3:33 left in the third period. Live from the Forum in Montreal, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
More than a 1 in 3 chance you will win something.
Lotto Canada.
More than 1 in 3 you'll make good. Better than 1 in 3 you'll grin. Better than 1 in 3 you'll win that Lotto Canada game. It sure looks good.
One Lotto Canada pouch out of every 3 issued is a winner. 4 $1 million prizes and special bonus prizes up to $100,000 on May 6th. 10 $1 million prizes June 3rd. Better than a 1 in 3 chance to win something.
That Lotto Canada game, it sure looks good.
Lining up for the face-off to the right of Paul Matier. Time becoming a huge factor now for Toronto. They need 3 goals to get back in even terms with 3 minutes and 25 seconds left. Now it's Sittler coming down with Ellis and Anderson. Bromley cleared it out over the line. Hutchison, he shoots it in, and a wave of Leafs moving in. Ellis, Anderson, Sittler. Turnbull has it at the point. Around the net. Into the corner. Ellis shooting it. Mondu clearing it to the far side. Turnbull is going to keep it in. Not for long, however. Out it comes. It's back in there. Called on the offside.
We haven't mentioned very much about Larry Robinson tonight, but he hasn't made a mistake out in the ice, and he's been very solid offensively as well as defensively. And in early going in the first period, when he had to move up and be a little physical with the Toronto Maple Leafs, he was. And this is what they depend on Larry Robinson for. He's a real team leader for the Montreal Canadiens.
So don't forget, on Thursday on CBC TV, you'll have the Expos and the Blue Jays in a return match in Toronto for the Pearson Cup. It should be an outstanding attraction because, as we mentioned earlier, Expos and Blue Jays going very, very well. Expos won today 2-0, and Bill Lee pitched a two-hitter. I haven't heard about the Blue Jays, whether or not they play tonight. I know one thing, the Canadiens have been playing since around 8 o'clock. They're down to 2 minutes and 47 seconds left in the third period. Here is Hutchison. Drilling shot up the corner towards Anderson in there, bumping rather gently with Savard. Canadians turning it up over the line. Lambert. Bromley has it. He winds up over on the way. He was being checked by Ellis. Lambert poking away, and he couldn't come up with it from the corner.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Jock Miller as well with the Montreal Canadiens. He's always been a great playoff performer. He was the one that beat us in Chicago in 1971 or 2, I believe, in the Stanley Cup when he blasted the shot just inside the red line, right over Tony Esposito's shoulder.
Well, that you were leading 2-0 that game. Pocket for Sharp.
Got 2 goals. Yeah, that was the closest I got to the Stanley Cup.
That was an amazing year for the Montreal Canadiens, except the power play Bruins. And they lost the first game against the Bruins. They were down at one stage in the period 5 and won that one 7-5 and they looked back. Now Stalling, boxing the Sharp into the corner. Here's Gainey. He stopped to distract Maloney. McKechnie. Bombing up to McDonald. McDonald winds up 10 feet wide with that shot. Now at the point, Burroughs and Fun goes down. He had quick on that low shot from the point. 2:04 left in the fifth period. Scotty Bowman set Bob Gainey opposite him. And if you want anyone to check Manny McDonald in a close game, especially in the Bob Gainey has to be the guy. From the side of the net. And they head to Gainey. Gainey coming out rather gingerly on the left side. He's in over the Toronto line. Fired nowhere near the net. Back in. And behind that. Burroughs leading a 4-man Toronto attack. McDonald comes to center. Canadians in there to take over. Savard. His pass goes into the center ice area. And now, a minute and a half left. There's an offside against the Leafs. Out the ice again, and mentioned earlier, Roger Wilson has scored his scores, so I wouldn't give the Leafs much of a chance. But as I mentioned before, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are in the game here in Montreal, and I think they're going to try and be physical. They feel that they can win this way. I don't think they're going to move around, but get together, talk over, and look about hitting a game Wednesday night. Hopefully, why did they cut it off tonight? They lead. And the Canadians can't play on the line, making a move against Robinson, who jammed him in the floor. Gardner centered it, and it went off the stick. And the goal is Butler touching it back. It's a nice thing. Just intended that, but not always what you intend.
That part of the reason why the Leafs were unable to continue the game that they had started was the defeat of the Montreal Canadiens.
So you're going to see this will be Robinson at Kenville, as I recall.
Yeah, he's taken the body so effectively the whole game.
He's an impressive young man throughout Kenville.
Very impressive.
Leaves everybody up. Turnbull touches on the line. Robinson chased by by Terry Robinson. The board for Young. Goal! Critical off Robinson. 8 points off that pass. Came back out to the crease. And there you have the cotton. Great run by Terry Robinson. A great play. Still put the penalty ball here. Replay. Even if Larry Robinson was all down, once he's rushed behind his net. But you're going to see him all down. He makes a heck of a the puck right to the goal crease and had everybody in Montreal in there. They're being hauled down by Terry. Watch him get the puck as he down and back to the crease. Follows penalty number 2, Ian Brindle. 2 minutes at 18:59. 18:59 for Brindle is the center of the night. Remember last year, the top scorer for the Toronto Maple Leafs had 6 goals in the season. He's a very valuable player. Now here's the point. Going in for a long man, top over his head. Into the corner, Tremblay. Touches himself, trying to check Tremblay. The Leafs clear down the ice. Montreal 5 for number 2, 40 seconds left in the third period of the Canadiens, led by Ryan Tremblay and Lambert. Over the line, back to Ryan. He shoots it and he shot it wide. He got him behind the on left. Butler clearing it down the ice. Butler down there to check the point. Next game in the series here at the Forum Clock. Wednesday night in Toronto, the third and fourth games, Saturday and Sunday. And the Canadiens, 10 seconds left. You can say now they have taken the one-game lead in the series. Hutchison in behind the net. And Michael Bailey, a game. So Montreal Canadiens congregating behind 2-0, retaliating with 5 goals. They're Toronto 33-28. They win the first game of the series. It's the most three-star selection.
The looks of a tough man will give you a lift, but underneath a tough truck, body and frame construction, a tough and Ford's outfit engine design is easy to move around room inside, or even guys like me. The same purpose of Ford's new Captain's Club wagon and hundreds of captain's chairs and snack table and seat. If I had a tough like this, I'd still play.
A tough Ford truck. Your Ford dealers now. How sales Toronto brand? The essential thing about a meeting is you meet. But if you can't, one of the most ingenious ways of getting together is in not going anywhere. A conference call. Same situation, Frank? Different people in different cities, all connected simply by one of you dialing 0 and asking for the conference operator who sets the whole thing up. Dennis, would your voice in San Francisco agree? If you have to have a meeting and can't go, call the conference operator and have it anyway.
Messieurs, voici les 3 étoiles Molson du match de ce soir, tels que choisis par M. Bertrand Desmond du Journal de Montréal. Molson, 3 stars of tonight's game, as selected by Mr. Bertrand of the Journal de Montréal. La première étoile de first star, Jacques Lemaire. La deuxième étoile de second star, Guy Lafleur. Et la étoile de third star, Larry Robinson.
We will return with Stanley Cup 79 in just a moment.
The professional ones. Ever-ready alkaline power cells. Used by Boris Primo, top news photographer and winner of 150 Canadian and international awards. Boris only gets one chance to capture award-quality pictures like these, so his professional equipment always includes ever-ready alkaline power cells. Long-lasting, reliable.
They're really professional. I proved that on thousands of assignments.
Ever-ready alkaline power cells. The professional ones.
Tuesday on Happy Days.
Cunningham, say cheese.
Richie gets framed when he's discovered at a massage parlor by a classmate who attempts to rub him the wrong way. Then part 2 of Brielle.
Your Honor, we plead not guilty by reason of insanity.
No!
Canada's at war.
Brielle, Tuesday at 8:30 on CBC, right after Happy Days.
The Canadiens have taken a one-game lead over the Leafs in their Stanley Cup quarterfinal. 5-2 final score tonight after Toronto had taken a 2-0 lead and goals by Lanny McDonald and Dan Maloney. The Canadiens came back, and before it was all over, Jacques Lemaire had scored 2, Guy Lafleur 1, Steve Shutt and Yvon Lambert also adding singles. Lafleur had a goal and 3 assists tonight, Shutt a goal and 2 assists, and Larry Robinson had 3 assists in the game. It was a 2-2 tie into the third period, and then came the big break as Dave Hutchison of the Leafs coughs the puck up along the boards. He tried to feed it up to a teammate on the right side, took a funny bounce off the boards and went right to Steve Shutt, who then made a good move to get away from Hutchison, who tried to recover. Shutt then threw it back to Jacques Lemaire, and he just drilled it. Mike Palmateer did not have a chance to get set, and the Canadiens had the lead. That was at 4:23 in the third period. And then came the play that put it away, really. As Salming falls at center ice, Robinson and Lafleur combine as they hit the Toronto line. Salming did a great job to get back and cover Robinson. Lafleur saw it, so he dropped the puck over to Lemaire, the trailer on the play, and he drilled it home. We mentioned off the top of the show what a great playoff performer Jacques Lemaire has been for the Canadiens, and he proved it again tonight. Elsewhere tonight, the Islanders beat the Blackhawks 6-2, the Bruins over the Penguins 6-2, and late in the third period at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, the New York Rangers still leading the Flyers by a score of 2-1. Game 2 in this one Wednesday night here in Montreal. We'll be on the air at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Once again, the final score in this quarterfinal opener, the Montreal Canadiens 5, the Toronto Maple Leafs 2. This is Dick Irvin bidding you a pleasant good night for Stanley Cup 79.
Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Ford Motor Company on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. The Bank of Nova Scotia with nearly 1,000 branches across Canada to serve you. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. And by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Brewers of Molson Canadian Lager Beer. Copyright and is intended solely for the enjoyment and entertainment of our viewing audience. Unauthorized use in whole or in part without written permission is expressly forbidden.
This is